Okay, okay, okay. All right, let's get in the stream. I think everything's on. And then I got to get this interview link on. What's going on, Alorio? Hang on a second. I wonder, can you guys hear me? Don't know if the audio is good at all. Before we get into stuff, there's only like one person in here. I'm doing pretty good, man. Today's more of a Q&A stream than it is me going on a 2-hour diatribe. What time are you getting on? Uncle Kofi is here. Yes, Uncle Kofi is here to just talk about tins. Audio's okay? Okay. You always go live when I'm in the gym. It's funny because Terry's going to go on live a little bit later, and he is also at the gym. So we're all trying to figure ourselves out. But I'm going to try to get the homies on here. More or less, like we've all been on like a ton of these trips. And I think, open the door, have an open forum, ask questions when needed, and then kind of see how things go. But I think for the most part, there's a lot of misconceptions around press trips and how they're all done, and like, what do you have to do? Do you have to do anything, and obligations and all the other stuff? So I figured that's what we were going to talk about today. So let's let people load into the stream. I'm going to get my first dislike soon. Like if you guys are just tuning in, throw a like up. That helps the algorithm out a bunch. Also, am I in focus? Because this is driving me nuts. I'm shooting at like T2.8 split on the Remus 45, and I'm not sure if I'm in focus, and it feels a little bit like a little soft. From what about everyone? Oh yeah. So I think Charlie, you're one of the kids that we saw when me and Jason were at Whataburger like a little while ago. That was actually like not even a week ago. That was like a week and a half ago. Yes, Charlie. I remember you from Whataburger. You have asked quite a lot of times. Finish up this leg day, but I'll probably catch a replay if you're still on when I get home. Honestly, the way that these streams go, my dude, I'll be here till at least 5. You know what it is. I'm gonna let more people pile in. I got stuff on my screen. Yes, Charlie, I do remember you. So funny story. We were in Houston, me and Jason Morris, and we're in line, and there's like these maybe like 5. There's like 5 guys. They're like younger, maybe like I think they're maybe 12 years old, and they were all like, "Oh God, are you guys YouTubers?" And we're like, "Yeah." Like, what do you guys do? And then we started talking. Then we took a couple pictures. Hang on a second here. What am I? There you go. My monitor just died. Yeah. So basically, they knew that we were YouTubers because Jason had his ZV1 out. Charlie, in terms of posting that video, don't know yet. It's actually going to be on Jason's channel. So if you are looking at finding out when that video is going to come out, it's going to be on Jason's channel. Give me 1 second. I'm going to open the window because it's a very small room in here. And then, how many people are in here? Are you missing a light? Greg, are you hating on my lighting right now? Are you hating on my lighting? Because that'll make me sad. I'm not missing any lights. There's a little practical over here. I got Cam's light actually like right here. Like it's right in front of me, bouncing off the wall, and then that wall is giving like this on my face. Nothing on the front side. Keep everything moody. But then I close that window. So that's how we're going today. Okay, I'm gonna open the window because it's getting real hot. 1 second, guys. Okay. I look a little dark. Are you? That's a race. No, I'm just kidding. Let me see what it looks like on the YouTube window because on my computer right now, she looks dark, but it's intentional. View channel. Let's see how dark I am. Man, that's not even bad. That's not even bad, bro. You look a little dark. Hey, that's just my skin, bro. I joined the race with the F1 race about to start. Bro, you can do two things at the same time, Cam. I've seen you do it. No, you just look too bright. That's all. No, y'all are looking too bright. That's why. I'm not going with the traditional giant softbox kind of look today. I'm going with this. Our skin tone's at 40 IRE. Actually, they actually are. So you could view these things on the Pixis. I could just kind of go on the screen here. So like, if I even bring this light up, like that's just, there's a little like light spill on here. I don't like that. There you go. Yeah, there you go. That's not bad. It's not dark. It's no dark. See, there we go. It's nice and moody. That's what we went for today. Nice and moody. What up, Kyle? Greetings from the Netherlands. Okay, not gonna waste any more time. All right, let's go. So our YouTuber's lighting you on these press strips. So Cole's notes, long story long. Hang on a second. These garbage lights. Cam, I'm using your light. Cam, I'm using your light and lenses. How would look at that? That's because I am sinister, Greg. I mean, if you guys are gonna keep complaining about it, you guys ruin all the fun. See, I turned the exposure up because you guys don't like having nice things. I want to see the dark skin guy. I'm totally kidding. Anyways, okay, so press strips. I've been on 5 press events. 1 with Fuji, 2 with Sony, 2 with Lumix, and I guess one of the big things I think when people have a misconception of is like what actually happens during these trips. Now, for one thing, like for the most part, yes, in terms of logistics, in terms of how things work, generally speaking, it'd be kind of in the middle of the year or whatever it is, maybe a couple months in advance, and a brand reaches out to you and they said, "Hey, we have this particular thing going on. Make sure you sign this piece of paper," which is an NDA, where you're not allowed to talk about the products. It doesn't necessarily dictate the things you're allowed to say, but in terms of like telling everybody where you are and what it's for and all the other stuff, you are going to be NDA. Um, Basically what ends up happening is you obviously sign that paperwork if you're going to go on these trips, and then your expenses are going to get paid for. So generally speaking, your flight, if you have to fly, will get paid for. If you're local to the area, then you just kind of pull up. Your accommodations are covered. All of that stuff is covered. Those things, like those are in disclosures and videos. And then generally speaking, with these press trips, to make it worth the company's while, there's generally going to be a product that's out. Now, in regards to that, I think something that ends up happening with a lot of creators, including myself, and it makes sense. We make content about some of these products that come out as they come out. And there's a ton of advantages of being the first person to access them. Yes, obviously there's going to be views and suggested algorithm. If you guys don't know what suggested algorithm is, go ahead and ask. There's things that will happen that are a benefit when you cover a camera on launch day. So obviously, when we understand the confines of the trip, if we have any interest in doing that, that's generally the reason why a lot of us go. So that way we get to try a bunch of stuff before everybody else does, which, I mean, it's normal. I think anybody would. But in the confines of that, we go to this trip, they explain it to what it is, they tell us what the date is, and then we just kind of get left alone to do our own thing. Now, some of these trips have curated things for them. We get to test out shooting and do a bunch of things. And then a lot of the time, because the time span of some of these press trips, they're not very long. And what ends up happening is you sometimes have to pay for your own meals if you don't want to get things like, not all the time do you get every meal paid. So you'll pay a little bit of money to do that. Some of us will get rental cars. Some of us will stay later, and that usually is out of pocket. All of that to say, on these press trips, when creators are telling you on launch day that, like, yes, I was flown out to Japan or Toledo or whatever the heck it is, that's exactly like the reason why it sounds like it's the same thing over and over again is one we have to disclose, and literally that is the nature of the relationship. Is there an incentive to say nice things in hopes to get invited back? I think yes and no. And I said this kind of a little while ago. And ghost cam op, or am I tripping? Oh yeah, no, that's this tripod sucks. Um, sorry. Yeah, tripod sucks. I have a old tripod I'm using for these streams. But anyways, going on these trips and stuff like that are generally speaking for the sole purpose of beta testing and trying out the camera. Whether or not we make an embargo video is kind of like no one really cares. At least in my perspective, I've asked multiple brands. I'm like, hey, do you care if I make an embargo day video? And they're like, I mean, it's cool if you make something, but does that necessarily mean that we have to say nice things? No, we just have to be respectful about them, right? So, for example, the S1R2 just came out. To this day, I've had my overheating the one time, and that was me being an idiot, and that happened. The idea that it was sent to Norway so we would mask the overheating would be insane. And also insane that all 35 people that went could cooperate and agree to not say anything, because you can't get three of us even decide what we want to get for breakfast. But basically what I'm trying to say is a lot of things that happen on these brand trips are exactly how they're explained. And also this whole live stream is to kind of have a Q&A, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to do these topic kind of centered streams when you don't have your other two criminals with you, being Cam and Terry. But effectively what it is a lot of these press trips are paid trips to beta test cameras. So by the time it gets to you, not only do you have a lot of the information, but we also work out some of the kinks. Like, for example, when we were in Norway, we had autofocusing issues, and it would be uncharitable to then not say anything to Lumix and be like, hey, uh, everything's fine with the camera, it's fine, then turn around and go on the internet and disparage the camera for not having great autofocus. Where what we did was, actually Connor specifically did, went to the team and said, hey, I'm having trouble with the autofocus. And then they fixed it right away. And that's kind of the basis of the trip. And I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of people that make these camera equipments, these brands or these people that are engineering the stuff, they're not creators. So they actually don't like when they ask us to go on these things, it's because they don't know what to look for or what to test. They know how to make the thing. They don't know the context of how that's going to translate into real life, which is the whole reason why there is that relationship to begin with. Also, mostly, excuse me, also mostly because a lot of these people that are engineers, a lot of these kind of people that are working in the design side of things, they don't have time to learn how to do video. They don't have time to shoot anamorphic and landscapes and all that other stuff. They don't have to like shoot sports. They make they make electronics, and they're engineers. So a lot of those things are exactly how they're told to you. And I mean, you could believe me or not believe me, but generally speaking, I haven't really seen anybody to be able to prove the otherwise. But again, this is more of a Q&A about brand trips and stuff like that. So trips are great to provide feedback to the engineer. Angelo, that is 100% right, because I think every time we have gone on them, whether it be in big forums or whether it be, what's it called? Hang on a second. Everyone's really complaining that this is dark. What are you guys doing? What's going on here? Hang on one second. This is intentionally lit. Yeah, this is incredibly intentionally lit. I wanted to bounce a light off and give a little kiss of light. Keep it moody, bro. Why y'all getting up in arms? What's going on? Anyways, yeah, trips are a great way to provide. Hang on a second. Trips are a great way to provide engineers with feedback. And even when we go to Sony Condo, like we actually have these like meetings where they put you in a room and they basically ask you what you think about what they want next, or like what you like and what you don't like. And a lot of the times where we're on like a Lumix trip, same thing happens. It's a little more informal because you don't put into a boardroom. But effectively, they'll tell us, hey, here's all the things that it can do. Verify those things and how well they actually work, and then ask us questions later. So that's why you see so many of us on these things. I feel like they should be cinematographers and engineer. You can refer me because I've done both. Uh, man, I have talked to lighting companies. I've talked to camera brands. I've talked to lens manufacturers. None of them are actually like in the field. They make stuff, and that's pretty much it. Like I remember talking to Quasar Science. If you guys remember that name, it's like old lighting brand. This is like the original light tube. Um, These guys, they didn't understand the practical context of how creators were using lights until they were told. They just knew how to make really good lights. So a lot of the times, like, yeah, it's few and far between that you'll get someone who's a very proficient engineer of like camera equipment and lighting and stuff, and then also at the same time understands that. So y'all just don't like nice things. That's all. I'm convinced. Photography, not dark. Let him cook. Hey, Joseph, say it one more time. Let him cook. Not big cook though. Shout outs to him. It's not dark. It's perfect. See, you guys gotta let me live, bro. Let me live. Let me experience. Let me experiment. I should say with moody lighting. There's 48 people here. So essentially, yeah, basically this whole stream asking about brand trips, how do you get brought on them, which is I think another big question. Here's I guess the long and short of the business of it. A lot of these press trips are going to have creators that are pretty versed into the space, that have audiences and that also have like enough time in the game where if I do send it to you, obviously anybody can beta test a camera. However, it is an added bonus and also a complete business move if someone's like, hey, this person has a larger audience. Obviously, if you're going to get access to the camera first, the likelihood you're going to make something on launch day or whenever really is probably pretty high. This makes the most amount of sense. Have I seen anybody punished for not doing it? No, not necessarily. While at the same time, I'm like, if I owned a business and I had a marketing event and one guy kind of didn't do anything, if anything, it was kind of a drag to have him there, probably wouldn't invite them again. So there's two sides of that coin. However, there's no paperwork or anything that mandates that we do have to do this stuff, except when we're under NDA, we can't tell you what things are on the pipeline before they come out. Engineers think differently. Absolutely agree. I think a lot of like to be an engineer for something that is very specific, like be it a camera body or a sensor or designing color science and tweaking and stuff, you have a very particular set of skills. That's funny. You have a very particular set of skills that I think really caters onto like that one thing. 808 stat 8, what up? Actually, I think I went backwards in these. Dang, I never thought I would catch up to the comments that much. There are 48 people, and not one person has asked a question about how these things work, which is interesting because when we do go on these, some more appreciation for the FX30, please. I've made 68 videos on the FX30. I've made 68. I don't know how many more videos I can make on the FX30. There are 68 in a playlist on my channel. As someone who would love to get on these trips, what would you recommend? As real, I would say, truthfully, continue making content. And that sounds super cliche, but like, if I'm a brand that has to pick between thousands of people, they're probably going to pick like it kind of goes through the ring, right? It's like, well, can everybody use whatever thing I have coming out? Cool. You have thousands of people. Well, how many of them are like posting consistently that like there's a value added obviously to doing things on launch day? There's no two ways about that. Okay, cool. All right, who's going to do stuff on launch day that also has the audience that might turn to a sale? Cool. Like those are all things that as a business makes complete sense. So I would say literally growing your audience and being very comfortable in talking about the topics of stuff. One of the things I asked Sean when we were in Norway, and I just kind of like sat down with him. I'm like, hey man, like I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't have the largest following in the world. Why am I here? And like I was the only person from Toronto, so why am I here? And he said, he's like, well, I like the way you articulate stuff and you know how to use our stuff. So why not? Also, one of the things that, I mean, some people are looking at getting on press trips, and this is something that's a little bit intangible. One of the things and one of the feedback I got was a lot of these people, the marketing reps that create these press trips, want to make a good trip for everybody. So what they will do sometimes is they will pick groups of people that they hope get along or will make the trip fun. And then those are the people that'll go on top of all the other metrics that, you know, they're based on audience and other stuff like that. And the reason why is because like nobody wants to bring somebody on a trip who's going to hate it or just doesn't want to go even if they're invited, right? So the whole thing is that, yes, it is a trip about new products, but it's also very much a trip that they want everyone to enjoy. And if they feel like, a little bit uncomfortable, they don't know your personality enough, or, if you actively don't want to go on those things, you don't like them, then typically they'll pass it on to somebody else. He made choke vids on the FX. Yeah. So I think totaling between the FX 330 and 6, 127. Never mind. How these things work. Truthfully, you get an email, you get brought onto a thing, you sign an NDA, you typically learn about new stuff, either that is in your hands or you get it somewhere down the pipeline, or it's things coming down the pipeline. You're made not to tell anybody, and then honestly, you just beta test the crap out of it for about a month until they have launch day. Oh, you need to make that playlist 69. If someone wants to buy me an FX30, I sold mine. I'll be honest with you. I sold mine like before I went to Ghana last year, mostly because I was in Ghana. The sun sets at 4 o'clock. I needed a bit more low light, and I didn't want to buy an FX3 on top of the FX30 that I had. So sold it, upgraded, and I don't currently have one on me. Which islands are you on for the me? Now it's been okay. Do you think it would be in bad taste to ask to go in the trip? Mighty Miggy, I'll be honest with you, probably. And the reason why is because the nature of press trips is that they're generally under NDA. So for you to know that there would be one would imply that either someone had told you and broken their NDA, or it just might be like a weird thing to ask, to be honest with you. I think that's one of those things where you probably want to use the pull method versus the push. And what I mean by the pull method, for example, if everyone's in video production here, if you are constantly shooting like BTS and sharing your work and stuff like that, that's a pull method where clients will come to you because they're seeing the stuff that you're doing. A push method would be reaching out to clients and getting in emails and getting in DMs all the time. I think with like brand related stuff, there's a bit more leverage when it's pull versus push, but particularly brand trips that are under NDA, I wouldn't recommend. I've never asked, so I don't think I would, because also then there would come the question of valuable metrics and stuff like that would come up as well, because that is going to be part of it. It's not a coincidence that your favorite creators are also people that are going on these things. Oh yeah, Cyrus is on Maui, because I saw Cyrus. We actually shot some stuff together. We have specific skills, and I will capture you. That sounds like almost all the way like a filmmaking reference until I get to the I'll capture you. Now I'm like, someone put Greg on a list. I'm joking. Greg is great. At what audience reach sub views did you start getting invited? So Joseph, I went to my first condo. I had 15,000 subscribers, I think. Yeah, I think I had like 15K. So around there, I'd say. But also, to be fair, like between 0 and 10, I had more videos on the FX line than any other two creators combined that had 10 times the amount of subscribers, and the views were pretty equatable. So like, I think that results may vary. Also, I feel like it's just there's a metric that's not prominent or prevalent, I guess, with brands, and it's like how the community community recognition. There's no metric for that, but like there's tons of channels with 100,000 subscribers, but like in conversations about, ooh, we got a guest in the building. Hang on a second. Let me actually figure out if I know how to do this. Like, I know how to join. So can we ringing. Kofi is joined. Well, Kofi's. Oh, I did this wrong. Let me just get out of here. There we go. Cam is joining. Yeah, so what audience? Around 15K. 808 Stack, you did an amazing job as Tam's camera guy. Condor Blue setup was dope. I think the attachments were as expensive as the cam itself. Fun fact, 808. That was my camera. I was first thing seeing on my own camera body. Guess is in the green room. Hang on a second. Let me just get Cam in here. I don't remember how to do this correctly. Add to the left. Cameron Mackey.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you, bro. I can hear you, can't see you.
I think you're having this issue before, right?
Yeah, so you gotta close your eCam and then reopen your browser.
Oh, okay. Let me relaunch my browser.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so in terms of Italy film, I think I just put the BTS out a little while ago. I actually that's my kit. So one of the things that the production needed when we were second unit when I was ACing is they needed a second camera. So I ended up doing that. Got our first dislike. Let's go. Cam is joining. Add left.
Is it working now?
I can hear you.
Can't see me though. Let me see.
Yeah, I don't see you at all. Who plans the creative group shoots? That is the brand that does that, Larry. Generally speaking, though, we will sometimes go off on our own. We got 2 dislikes. Let's go. Yeah, generally speaking, that's usually the brand that does that. Maybe one day I will meet your Lumix gang out of the chat. Hey, let's go. I feel like I'm like an everything gang. I feel like I can't claim any sort of set because I also have a Sony event in 20 days. I have a Sony event in 20 days. So as much as I've done a lot of Lumix things, I actually worked with like almost every brand but Canon. Canon feels like they don't really share that much. Totally makes sense. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, anytime, man. We got 4 dislikes. I don't know what I did to you guys. 15 people who like, 15 likes, smash that like button. Hey, you know what? The more you like or dislike, it still helps the algorithm. It doesn't matter. I remember someone saying that creators had to cover their own expenses. Thank you for being honest. Yeah, so Myron, to be fair, some creators actually do have to cover their own expenses. So it depends on the trip. It also depends how long they're staying. So for example, where did I stay later? Japan. So in Japan, when we were there, I stayed like a week later and I had to pay for everything. Like I had to pay for my like the hotel, I had to pay for getting around in Japan. I had to pay for all that stuff because it was past the time of like what the brand would cover. Also, if you're allergic to any meals or depending on the trip, the if honestly if you're allergic to anything, if you don't like the food that's there, I'm allergic to seafood, so the Japan trip was tough for me. I had to pay for my own food and I just went out and got it. There are 6 dislikes. You guys are actually wild. I feel like if I say dislikes, or maybe someone's coming in and doing whatever. Anyways, is it normal for smaller creators to reach out to brands? Absolutely, it's normal for smaller creators to reach out to brands. I think one of the things you have to keep in mind is just making sure you have a good pitch, man. I think as long as you have a good pitch in terms of how things are going to go, you should be fine. This is the most dislikes we've had in a live stream. I don't care. We're still in it. Every 100%. Man, I just want to shout you out on what you do. Yeah, okay, now people are just disliking on purpose, whatever. Now I just want to shout you out on what you do. Been a while since I followed someone who mean business when it comes to one-man filmmaking. Thank you. Yes, I chose the FX30 to do this back. Hey, respects, bro. I still think the FX30 is one of the best starting points for cameras, realistically, because they made that price tag really attractive. Nice talking. I'd set up what lens. So right now I'm on the Blazar Remus 45 millimeter. I'm using the Blackmagic Pixis, and then I'm using the it's kind of hard to see here, but I'm using the 3G SDI into USB-C, and that goes directly in the camera. Hey, Ike's in the building. Ike, I've never seen you at, I mean, I guess you shoot a lot of Nikon, and I haven't gone on any Nikon events. But I actually haven't seen you at any of these things, and it'd be kind of cool too. And also, just so people are on the same page here, you don't necessarily have to be a big stan of the brand itself to get invited to the brand trip. For example, I've had an S5 2X for like a month or so before I went to Japan, and actually never made a video on it. So again, a lot of these things are really custom and really variable in terms of how things go. Omar, I'll see you later, buddy. Since you got the hookups, how do I get my hands on a Condor Blue Pro VMAP battery plate? Help, sir. Buy it. That might be cause of a dislike. Buy it. I don't know what else to tell you, bro. Buy it on Amazon. I think that might work. Do you think manufacturers want something more than only feedback when organizing these trips, like free marketing promotion of the products? CCUs tend to fight for views. I think it's one of those things that kind of happen kind of hand in hand anyways. So Obviously, I don't think a brand's going to say no if you're going to make videos on their launch day products. That would be insane if they're like, "Hey, don't you talk about that A7 IV. Don't you dare." I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. Um, that being said, like I've asked brands and I'm like, "Hey, I don't think I'm going to finish this video the day of launch. I might get it a few days later or maybe not at all." And most of the reps don't care. Maybe it's because I have a smaller audience, so they don't care. But I think if it's like a mass amount of people that don't do anything, then it does kind of fall on that. But I don't really know. That's kind of a tough one. But I've never felt the pressure to do it. What ends up happening is that when I know that I'm going on something exclusive, the benefit of going on something exclusive is I get to do that thing early. You guys should check out Discord. It's better for live chats. That might be. I mean, I'm on Discord right now. Evan, what up? I'm getting a gigantic amount of dislikes for reasons I don't understand. But I think because I said the word dislike, here we go. There we go. You are in
Now it's
log.
working.
You are loggy as hell.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to get the LUT to work.
What are you on, the Pixis?
Yeah, but it's in webcam mode.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know who it is, but I have 13 dislikes, and I feel like it's like a bunch of people that just agree to keep disliking. And it's hilarious because it'll push the video to the algorithm.
Yeah, I can't figure out this. Well, hopefully people are fine with the log.
Yeah, it's fine. Who in the right mind would dislike Kofi Boo? I don't know. It's a bunch of people. There's people that dislike stuff all the time, man.
You might be able to put a LUT on my feed.
How would one do that?
In the settings where it shows you all of the different camera options, click the little settings wheel, and then you should be able to apply a LUT.
So video, default source camera, cross dissolve. Yeah, no, it does not say anything at all. I don't know which option that would be.
Well,
I mean, you can live preferences. Well, you're in log then. We'll just keep there.
yep.
But yeah, I'm on a dislike streak, and I you know what? Keep it coming. Don't care. We're still streaming. That's not going to stop me. Where are we at? We're at Mighty Miggy. I don't see it as gang. I see it as more of a club. You can join any club you want, right? Yeah, that's fair. Like, to be fair, and I think Cam could attest to this too. I don't think we have really a club. I think it's just a bunch of guys that end up being in the same place at the same time, and then some of us have darker humor than others, and then we end up being friends, and that's kind of what happens.
Yeah, I'll just make sure I was on the live. That's the funny thing with some of the haters is once they do actually get in contact with us, the common thing we hear is, "Oh, you guys never paid attention to me before."
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they start going on about there being cliques in the cool kids club. There's none of that. We
No.
all come from different worlds. As you start going to these events, you start meeting all the other tube douchers, you realize, oh, it's a normal person. Like, it's not as adults, it's not our job to go and hold your hand and like show you how to, um, you know, be a regular human being and converse with people.
Hang on 1 second. I think 808 stacks under monitor setting. I think it says display 3D LUT if I remember correctly. Monitor settings.
Is he talking about on the Pixis? Oh, it's already on the Pixis, trust me.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong. Let's
Easiest
see.
thumbs up. Can't wait for the Pixis G2. Bro, I actually am very excited about the Pixis G2. And based on the website, it sounds like it actually might be on the time that is intended. Who the hell dislikes info live streams? You guys even know cameras? 808, I can guarantee you it is a collection of people that would want to remain anonymous that probably are contacting each other to be like, hey, dislike the stream because that'll stop the stream from happening, which it won't. So I could care less. Are you at the Sony event at TMU near the end of May? Greg, not only am I going to be at the event, me and Chris Brockers are running it. So yeah, absolutely. I will be there. You mentioned someone's using the ZV-E1. Is it a decent camera? I've not used the ZV-1. Jason has it for his second channel, and he used that for the majority of the time that we were in a place. But yeah, he likes it. So live stream trolls suck. Eh, whatever. Here's the thing, and I don't think you guys know this, and I don't even know if these people that are trolling knows this. Um, if you dislike a video, the likes and dislike ratio, like it's weighted the same. Nothing bad happens to my video when you dislike. It only shows people that aren't you. So the more you dislike, it's the same as liking something. So if you keep trolling the dislike, it'll just show it to people that don't have your habits, which further pushes it to my audience, which is fine. So
It's just engagement.
literally YouTube's method is all engagement is good engagement. So every time that someone's like, yeah, we're going to dislike, we'll show them. I'm like, cool. You've now brought me closer to the people that are actually going to watch videos continuously. So thank you.
Also, check it out. I bet you can't guess what lens I'm on though.
Put the flare beside your ear. Like bring it back a bit. Run it back. Like put it back. That is, I'm assuming that's the Mantis.
Nope.
Mercury?
Nope.
Really?
Uh-huh.
And it's blue. It's not the Remus.
Nope.
I have no idea then.
It,
Must be 1.33.
yeah.
Was it the Viltrox?
Yeah. The Viltrox Epic. So I haven't got to use this lens much, but in my Mantis video, I'm going to be comparing them. So
Okay, sick. I just got I have Chris's Mantis, and I got 4 shoots this week, so I'm gonna do a bunch. Also, fun fact. So I don't know if it's a tariff situation or what happened, but the Ursa 12K that I was renting got sent back to me. So I just have
ooh,
it. I'm like, I'm going to Revolt this week, and they have an Ari Alexa.
that's going to be that's going to be a forever keep, I think.
I hope, you know what? I kind of want the body only so I can get the CF Express module. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Are you thinking of working with another company on making a new tool? I am gonna ride the Kofi cups, and actually there's gonna be, I can't say that part yet. There's more to the Kofi cups that meets the eye, but for right now, I'm gonna ride those ones for a bit. We'll see how this goes. It just came out, so hopefully eventually. But I actually still want to try doing merch at some point, but I haven't decided what I want to do yet. What about you, Cam?
What was the question? Sorry.
Are you thinking of working with another company on making new tools?
Oh yeah. I have maybe like 4 or 5 really good ideas. And yeah, I'm trying to be patient on a lot of them. Because some of them I'm probably gonna need bigger numbers to get people to believe in
Yeah.
them. But oh yeah, I be pitching ideas nonstop to brands. So yeah, even the Mantis, for instance, some of you guys might know, the aperture inside is oval shaped when you open and close it. I
Hmm.
brought that up to them almost like a year ago now. So I have no idea if that's why they did it or not. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I'm constantly throwing ideas to different brands and everything.
I'm gonna chill out. Like I'm gonna probably. There's a product I wanted to come out with, but that someone's already working on it, and it's with this. Like
Wait, wait,
it
wait,
wouldn't.
wait, wait. Look out Ryan's chat. Ryan Cal.
What did Ryan say? Y'all both liars. What did we lie about, Ryan? You know what we actually
And
said Ryan was tall in a earlier stream.
oh, that's a lie.
We actually said Ryan is tall. He's about 5'10" and about 185 pounds, lean.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about me. That's me.
Uh, yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Actually, fun fact:
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Ryan powerlifted like around the same time I was competing, way back in the
Oh,
day.
crazy.
Um,
Ryan, we're gonna have to get you on one of these lives.
he's gonna hate it. I think he'll hate it.
Yeah. But on embargo trips, I was trying to jump in. Also, I'm gonna dip out of here in 20 minutes because the
That's
race
fine.
starts then.
That's cool.
um, yeah, the embargo trips. Uh, it's weird how people like they are the most normal once you show up to them and you realize like, oh, like half of the like majority of us I would say are kind of like, oh, this is fun, but can't wait to get home and actually start really digging into the camera and making our videos and stuff. even when we travel there, it's not like it's some like free vacation. Usually there's a bunch of shit planned, and it's half of us don't want to do the shit that's planned, but we still do it just to be, respectful. And most of us can't actually film what we like to film while we're on these trips because that's not what they're for. They're purely just to get everybody together. We're basically like beta testers once we get the cameras, and we start figuring out bugs and new features and things that they need to fix, and we're able to talk directly to the brand. There's no, I'm sure smaller creators, maybe when they're entering the space, they think, oh, I got to make a video if I want to be invited again. In reality, if you just focus on your fucking channel and make good content and build your numbers up and have a strong community, you're going to keep getting invited to these trips because they realize even if you do a reel or even if you're like posting your stories, whatever it is, you're going to keep getting invited. So I don't know. I think a lot of these fake narratives coming out are by smaller creator channels who, circling back to the cool kids circle, I think they have a false understanding of how all this actually works. Again, reality, Kofi was like outworking everybody. I had just went full time at the same time, and I was trying to do, bring my commercial experience into YouTube. And so with that, brands start paying attention and they start respecting us. Not fully, but in some sorts, they start respecting us. That's why we got invited. We didn't get invited because we're just saying nice things and blah, 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 blah. Like, that's not what it is at all. There are a couple brands out there, though. If you say anything negative about them, they might start ghosting you a little bit.
Yeah,
But guess what? We don't fucking care. We're not going to start just saying nice things just to go on these press trips. We could fly ourselves out to wherever we want if we wanted to.
that's I mean that's kind of the thing too, because sometimes these trips, like when you go, I would love to think they are vacations, but I think it's more work because like we'll be up till like all hours of the night being like, how do I figure out this autofocus setting? Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I have to like, and because you have that directness with the brand for like 3 days, three maybe 4 days, not even sometimes less. But anyways, like you have to figure out so many things to be able to kind of get things back and forth. But then also like, for example, if there was like a sweeping conspiracy to like we're gonna lie to everybody about whatever setting it is, then you would just return the camera. Like you would know. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like if all of us had overheating in 5 minutes, and now we're finding out that like it's a lot of the cards, it's how you like the batteries you're using, how are you setting things up, what resolution you're using. Like there's too many factors. Then yeah, that would cause like you couldn't lie about that with 35 people, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think people get a little bit mixed up because you have traditional YouTube, like the Petapixel guys who are incredibly honest in their videos and they make it really fun. There's some of the few people that actually can bust out a full-on video while on a trip. And they
just those
somehow
guys.
figure out all these, yeah, somehow they figure out all the details, all the quirks while on the trip. I don't know how they do it. They're a well-oiled machine, the way they operate. With the rest of us, it's Kofi again is one of the rare people who can actually he'll actually do like a talking head setup and light it and everything. The rest of us are like not doing that. So it's like these press trips again, they're in reality, I really don't know why brands even do press trips. I feel like they would get more bang out of their buck if they were just to send the cameras out to us. And if anybody had like a big idea because they end up liking the product, then funding that instead. So I don't know. I appreciate the press trips though, because I get to see my homies. I
Yeah.
get direct contact with the brands. I get to tell them, hey, you guys need to fix this. Hey, you guys should add this. Hey, what's this about? Like, why would you do this? Like, all of us are very honest. Like, I heard some of these other, even like larger channels, talk some shit to these engineers and the marketing team. And I was like, damn, like they just said that. Crazy.
I
And you would never guess that they're like that in real life because in their videos, they come off more professional.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think one of the cool ideas would be for a cool trip is that you send the camera first and the event happens second, and then you make the event open to
Yeah.
the public. So, like for example, if I don't know if there's a new Nikon camera, and also Greg has a good point. The trip is probably a tax write off for brands. Also, so is sending equipment too. So, but anyways,
Hmm.
say for example, Nikon has a new camera coming out, and we all go to I don't know Hawaii. I'm making stuff up. And you all go to Hawaii. you can pretty much have us test out the camera, do our videos, whatever the case is, and then have the trip and say, hey, if you're in New York or I don't know, I'm making up random cities. If you want to go see your favorite creators and ask questions about the camera, this is the day that you can do it. That would be, I think that would be kind of cooler because in that way we're committed to one day, while at the same time people that on embargo day want to see this stuff and then not have to wait for, oh, I want to wait for the pre-orders and all the other stuff. They can just go and see that and hit two birds with one stone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I love about these lives, because it kind of shows people it's like, look, we ain't got nothing to hide. We'll go live about this shit and we'll say everything that needs to be said about the camera.
And we'll get
So,
43 dislikes that are oddly on a timer. I'm watching the dislikes actually come in like an equal amount of time from each other. So literally someone just botting dislikes.
someone must be running a bot. Yeah.
Are we going to call
That's
it
a real
racism?
hater right there.
You know what? I actually, if someone who has the time to say, let me make sure that I dislike this as many times as possible on a reoccurring time frame, cause I'll take that. That's someone. Why are you obsessed with me? Okay. Mighty
Yeah.
Mickey actually asked a pretty solid question. One thing everyone wants to know: where are the pants in the S9 video that I rewatched it and I want one? He's talking about my pants, my Japan pants. I got
Uh,
those from. I think I got them from Shein. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I got them from Shein. If I
yeah.
find
So
a
now
link,
they're
I'll
like
post it.
20 times the price.
If you're in America.
Yeah. Yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
Oddly enough, like a lot of the manufacturing brand deal stuff for me is still kind of the same. It hasn't really changed much, but that's also because like you're shipping to Canada, so I think they figured out a way around
Yeah.
that. Because I just got a U Green thing that came straight from China, and it didn't cost me a dime. My
Well, if
next,
it's already in stock in the States, then,
it wasn't.
or North America.
No, they
Oh,
took it straight from
weird.
China. So
Oh,
yeah, I don't know. I'm not asking questions. My next question is the Blackmagic 12G Assist. I want 4K right to my SSD. Didn't you just get one?
I did.
Have you been able to get it going yet?
Wait, what was the question?
I just wanted
Dog,
to know
you
if you
gotta
got
start
your.
bringing these questions up on the, or
They are.
maybe it's not showing on my end. Oh, it's
No.
not.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I haven't got to fully utilize it yet. I can't say why. Kofi knows why, but
Yes.
once I'm able to, I might end up having to do a dedicated video because I'm very curious myself if external B-roll is worth it over internal
Mm,
codecs. So we shall find out once it starts working. That's all I'll say.
fair. I almost said something that was gonna get me in trouble, so I'll tell you my video idea
Yeah.
later. What are your favorite lighting setups? Ones for quickly done shots or more dedicated lengthy work? Well, I will say, and I will shill a little bit. I'm actually using Cam's light right now, and I can't show you a wide of it because the camera's too far to reach. But my camera right now is on a desk arm, and it's bouncing off the wall and back onto my face. So this, for some of you guys that were complaining that it was too dark, I think it looked fine. Yeah, I'm just bouncing lights off of walls because this room is incredibly small. Like this office is tiny and it's shaped stupidly because the only way I get natural light is this window back here, but that window is on a slant facing a wall. So I can't put my face in where it is to get motivated light. I just like it's stupid. If you ever see it, it's really dumb. So
I
yeah.
think I think how this live started with the chat is a perfect example of why people think there's like crazy stuff happening on press trips. One guy said that your lighting looked too dark. All of a sudden, there was like five other people saying the setup looked too dark. No one was saying it before. So usually what happens is, one little narrative and conspiracy theory comes out, and the next thing you know, people are picking it up because this whole parasocial type of dynamic that's starting to happen with YouTube, or maybe it's always happened, and Kofi and I are just still kind of new to the game to where we're
Yeah.
starting to experience it. But the whole snowball effect of like, obviously human beings crave drama. It's like our survival instincts to like search out for things to make us feel things. We're cavemen longer than we've been civilized, and so I don't know. Again, these press trips, it's wild. Because again, guys, Kobe and I, we were you guys just a year ago. You know, we were in the dark, not really seeing how these things operate. So your mind's left free to wander. So I don't know. With I just had an epiphany. That's kind of what Kofi, Terry, I, and Brandon Washington and Brandon Talbot, everybody who's like starting to do live. I feel like this is like it's what's kind of needed in our community now because it's kind of taken down this fake veil that people think is there. And yeah, so maybe on the next brand trip, we should try to figure out a way to bring some more transparency to it. Um,
I don't know what else you can do without us breaking an NDA. Do you want us to give?
I
I
know
can give you the coordinates. I
that's
can
the
give you the
hard part.
coordinates of where I was. That's what I'll do. Because like again, like we said, when we do our disclosures, I'm like, that's exactly what happened, and I don't know how else to explain this to you. Like I when I choose to go on these trips, I know there's something under embargo. That's why I'm going because I want
Yeah,
the thing first. That's the whole. That's the point. That was like you know what I mean.
yeah.
But yeah, I
I
know
don't really like
it's
calling them press trips. I don't see myself as press. You know, there are more traditional YouTubers, again, like the Petapixel guys, who I would say they're a little more press centered because, you know, they cover the things, they just cover any product that's there because that's kind of what they
yeah.
do. Like you go to their channel and you're going to have a consistent opinion between both of them. And for me personally, I don't like covering shit that I'm not into. I've
Mm.
been on a million Sony NDA and embargo um, meetings, and I haven't covered the past like 10 things just because it's like I didn't wasn't really interested in it. So I think there's also two different sides to this whole YouTube game. You got the press guys, and then you got more of the just you know creatives just trying to be creative and you know also do tutorials and teach people at the same time. So I don't know. I feel like people are trying to hold us accountable for something that's not really in our lane
Which I think
sometimes.
actually goes into this chat from Jason, where he says the last couple of years, camera YouTube scene is the only where everything feels more of a commercial than a review. To be fair, most of us came from production background, so a lot of our stuff will look like commercials because that's what we do. So that yeah, so the general quality of things are going to be more, but realistically, like when I watch these embargo videos, a lot of the stuff I could read on the spec sheet on B&H, it's just presented well. And
Yeah.
that kind of takes away the whole like I don't know if I could believe you. I'm like I could read it like I could if someone tells me something shoots 6K open gate at 30 frames a second. You could tell me that from any place in the world, from an iPhone or from a computer's webcam, it shoots 6K 30 frames a second. I don't not believe you because you went to Condo to figure that out. Maybe that's just me. Like, but a lot of these things, like realistically, if you took the script of everybody's videos, no matter who it is, 85% of that you could read. The interesting part where I think people are starting to make things look as cinematic as possible, they're using lighting setups or booking shoots and all this stuff, is just contextualizing it in a way that we'd actually like the video. Because if I sat there, and like to be fair, also on the review side of things, and I don't know how much people want to go dive into this, the affiliate marketing percentage is so small that it's almost not worth it for me to be upset if you don't buy the thing. The only thing I want to do is make a good video because the amount of purchases somebody would have to do in an affiliate link is so many to get the value of one camera. So I don't think the goal was ever like, let me get as many people to buy this as possible, whether they need it or not, because also you can just return it. But also because the incentivization is so little, like it's not
Yeah.
like in terms of the pyramid, obviously affiliate marketing is helpful. That would be a lie for me to say that it's not, but it's not at the top of the pyramid because it wouldn't make sense to be there because the incentive isn't there enough to make it so. Now if you said like, hey, every time somebody buys an FX30 I got 10%, I got 5 times as much as, like I was getting what, two and a half, and even then it took just under shy of 100 on my Amazon affiliates, between my Amazon and B&H affiliates. I think it was just shy of 100 with 68 videos. No one wants to make 68 videos to get what the value of 5 FX, like the 5 of the camera you're talking about. It would be insane. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
to this,
personally don't focus too much on affiliates.
I counted
Like
them, but
commercial work, like with commercial work, I can make 20 to 40K if I pursue it on one, you know, job. I'm not trying
mhm.
to brag here, guys. I'm just trying to again transparency here. So when it comes to affiliates, I might make 500 to 600 bucks a month off of it. I could probably make more if I focused more onto it, but in reality, that's like I don't know. The only reason I do is one for tracking. So obviously, when we work with brands, I want to make sure the brand's getting their end of the agreement. And obviously, I only cover gear that I'm interested in, but I also want to showcase it in an accurate and an inspirational way. So I want to make sure the brand's actually in their end. I'm a very fair person. Um, and so that's pretty much the only reason I really use affiliates. So even on, again, back on these press trips, embargo trips, whatever you want to call them, in reality, I don't give a fuck if anybody buys anything. Like, I'm just excited to um, utilize gear that I think is going to help my workflow, whether it's for being a tube doucher or doing pro work, whatever it is. I'm just excited to cover it. And, being able to cover it on my YouTube channel and get other people excited about it and yada, yada, yada. That's just a part of the machine of, being a content creator and making my living off of this.
Um, what's it called? I'm gonna go through Jason's last thing, and then I'm gonna try to speed through the comments just so I can get up to speed. Um,
Yep.
Jason, it's also kind of obvious when the embargo lifts, my feed is 5 videos of the same camera light stand, camera lens. That's how embargoes work. I'm like it's the same as like Thunderbolts just got released. It's on every social media platform. Anywhere that covers entertainment probably is covering Thunderbolts. It's kind of the same thing. Because there's something. So if you ever go into your YouTube analytics, there's something called the suggested view. Suggested views between your search, your browse, whatever the case is, and you guys have to kind of dive into the analytics. Suggested views have the highest view count, the highest subscriber conversion ratio, and the highest watch time. The way that you get suggested views is only three different things. One, if you've made so much content about the same thing, you just get suggested. So, for example, when I was on my 53rd FX30 video, suggested views went way up because based on you watching the other 52 videos, the 53rd one, we're assuming you want to watch that one. So that'll be suggested to you when you go to the end of the video and it goes to the next one. The second one is when I put people in the description or in the video itself. So we recently just talked about the Italy trip that we just went on. I was showing Cam before, the suggested views in terms of like watch time was like 5 times as much when it came from suggested than when it came from browser search. So there's that. Or the third one, which is you're just seeing in embargo videos, is that when everybody's talking about the same thing. So when, for example, when Jonathan Majors got in trouble with the law a couple of years, what was it, last year or a couple of years ago? Every reaction channel, every entertainment channel was covering it at the exact same time, all the time, until it was no longer part of the media cycle. Embargo lifts are kind of the same thing. It's just the nature of how that works. And also, like, when you get the thing early and they say don't say anything until this day, then you'll say that thing on that day at your earliest convenience, because obviously you want to still gain that audience and the benefits that come from being first to something. Okay, I'm gonna just scoot back up on comments real quick. Ike is in the building. I
Yep.
feel like I haven't
Wait.
answered. What
So
up?
the race started, so I'm gonna dip out of here. But before I go,
Hmm.
I have a reply to that last thing as well. This is like complaining when you go to a damn taco place and you're like, you have too many flavors. You're showing me way too many flavors. I came to this taco place just for the carne asada. Why are you showing me chicken and all these other options here? Like, that's what you guys are complaining about when all these embargo videos. I get it. It can be annoying when it floods your feed, but you don't have to fucking watch everybody's. Just find your favorite creator, watch theirs, dip out, go touch grass, go look up in the blue sky. You know, I don't get why it's such a big issue. Sure, it's annoying, but it shouldn't be like, oh my god, all these YouTubers are covering the same thing. Oh my god, my feed.
That was a voice. But yeah, like also like, and some of them are useful to people. Like I know there are some people even in this chat where they watch every single video because they're like, hey, actually I'm in the market of that. Let me hear from as many people as possible because cameras are expensive. I don't want to hear from one person to make that decision. That makes me
Yeah.
incredibly uncomfortable. If I needed more research to buy things like a house and my car, I would probably want to do as much, like have as much scrutiny with a camera, because that's going to be like the next expensive
Yep.
thing.
Baskin Robbins. All right, guys, I gotta dip out. I'm gonna go watch this F1 race.
All right,
And
I'm gonna catch up on
yeah,
these comments and then I'll work my way back down. And if you're done the
sweet.
race, then I'll
Appreciate
still
you
be here.
guys.
Peace.
Yes, sir. All right, peace.
Okay, I'm gonna speed through some of these comments. Terry's actually gonna come on in a little bit. Um, 46 dislikes. Yeah, somebody put that on a reoccurring timer to go exactly for the amount of people that were in the stream, which whatever. I work with Nikon a lot, and I was invited to a thing in Vegas, but I couldn't make it. But yeah, you won't see me at those events. One, because I never pitched brands, and two, I talk shit. I could be surprised who gets invited to some of these things despite talking shit. You'd be real surprised. I wouldn't rule that part out. Greg, the creators and influencers I've met have been great people. They put their pants on one leg at a time. Sometimes I put both legs into the pants, like I jump in it, which is hilarious because I live on the third floor of a building. So my brother that lives under me gets a little bit of shake in the morning. Well, now there's one of Shill Team 6. There will be two later, but thank you, man. Everyone's someone's favorite YouTuber, and I guess 46 people hate me the most. I'm the Three Musketeers of YouTube. I was going to make an offside joke. I feel like we're the diversity hires of YouTube. I'm joking, but also not joking. But also at the same time, we've been in the same place and around each other so much that you end up being friends, especially when you find out that your humor is just as dark as each other. Any publicity is good publicity with that like or dislike button. Straight, honestly. We got through that part. Hang on. Huge come up on that 12K. I'm jelly. I will eventually have to bring it back. Blackmagic's been emailing me being like, how do we get this back to wherever? I don't know where it came from, but wherever it came from. And yeah, I don't know how we're going to do that. Cam, when are you putting out some music? I'm going to ask Cam, but I think we may see some stuff from Cam soon. Ryan, you don't start nothing, won't be nothing. All right. Kofi, which cameras do you use professionally? Currently, I've actually said no to a lot of client gigs in the last little bit, but I've been using the Blackmagic Pixis. The last commercial that I shot, which was not super close, that wasn't because I traveled like 4 times, but it was a Trish Stratus shoot. That was like the mid-end of February. It was a 12K. I'm gonna probably get myself a 12K body only, so I have the CF Express Type B module and build it out myself, and that'll probably be my full-time on sticks main. And then I also have the Pixis 6K, which I use a whole lot. I have Sony. I got my A7C2 somewhere. I haven't used the FX line in quite a bit, and when I ever need one, I just rent it. But yeah, it's for all intents and purposes, the Blackmagic Ursa 12K, the Pixis. I have the S1R2 for hybrid shooting, so I'll use it for like YouTube. I'll use it for photos. I have like 3 photo gigs that I have that are annual, and the client gets it the same day every year. That I'll use it for that, and yeah, that's for the work that I get paid for outside of here. Until I do YouTube full time, and then I don't really have client work, then it just becomes the camera of what do you want to use in general. I usually see a video strip as an overview. There's a second video that's more of a real review. As an audience member, that's how I see it. Yeah, sure. That's perfectly fine and normal to do. I also don't think that when we put out videos, I don't think our idea is to say like this is a full review, because we fully acknowledge that we've only had it for a few weeks or a month. And most of us we'll say this is an overview of whatever it is, and then all the comments will call it a review anyway. So we just I feel like some people have just given up because it's just semantics. Kobe, did you experience that manufacturers take your comments about a camera seriously? Angelo, what day is it today? Ask me that again in like 3 weeks. Ask me that again in like 3 weeks, and you'll have a different answer. I can say with pretty certain honesty that Sony has been the one brand that does listen to features when bringing us up this trip. Yeah. So Ryan's also been to Condo a few times as well. They literally put us in these rooms, and there's just like a bunch of people from the brand, and they're like, hey, what do you guys want? What do you guys like? What do you like about this? What do you not like about this? Is this thing closer to the other thing that we know that you like? And can we make it better than the thing that you like already? So that's straight up what happens. And it feels a little bit nerve-wracking at first, but I would say like Sony and Lumix, in my experience, have been pretty good at listening to the audience and then giving them what they want. Albeit some of you have to be a bit more patient with what you want because cameras aren't made overnight. Can try the BL monitor because I've been looking at that. Cam go do a lot of things. Cam go do a lot of things with that BM monitor, of which I'm not putting his business out. In a second, let me go back up and get to more of these comments. Mike, I'm going to try to answer for Cam. I would say if you're someone that's starting out, especially in like the post tariff world, one, save as much money as you possibly can and try to do things as low a cost as you possibly can. And two, this is kind of like what we were talking about before, is like focus on making good content because tariffs, everything else aside, if you are a objectively great creator, a lot of those things are going to be reduced because people value the content that you put out, not so much the economic situation. I mean, for example, we had pandemic was like what 4 or 5 years ago, and that was when nobody was working. You couldn't go outside, but good creators still were able to figure out their way and navigate through the space. So I would worry about making really good videos because that's the only metric you can control. You can't control which country is going to charge which amount of money when you're going back and forth. You could only control your own output. So I would focus on that. And but at the same time, when you are focusing on that, try to spend less money because it might be a little bit harder to come by. Love my suggested views in the climbing industry. Yeah, if you guys are in making content or YouTube at all, pay really close attention to your suggested views. That's generally speaking going to be the people that are probably buying affiliates. Those are generally speaking the people that are going to subscribe. They're probably people with the longest watch times. Those are the views. And also, like, when you have a high suggested amount, generally speaking, it's correlated with a very high view count. Christoph, when the G7 released my phone, I got like 30 videos as a suggested view. That's the kind of what I'm alluding to, right? So with embargo releases and stuff like that, things that you want to pay attention to is that, like, it's just the day that we're allowed to talk about it, and everybody wants to talk about this thing you've held back for 3 weeks. Did you recently shoot a taco shop? Damn. Hey, we got Terry coming in. I'm gonna get more dislikes. Terry, just so you are aware, um, man, I'm gonna talk hella trash about it. Yeah, just so you know, I don't know, like, I can't in good conscience say that there are 50 dislikes and 48 people here. So I could only assume that somebody is like, let me just either make a whole bunch of accounts or like put on Reddit and say, hey, let's go dislike them because they'll stop the stream. But we've been going an hour strong and we're still going to keep going. Terry, the link also is in your texts. So if you want to jump on, start talking Yoshi, we can start doing that. Man, I talk hella trash, still get invited. That is facts. That is facts. Terry talks some craziness and still get to condo. And I don't know how he do it. Terry will say all the things he hates about the ZVE1, and they'll invite him before me. So I had a few that told me they bought a drone because of me and then complained to me about how they weren't able to make things I showed to work. All I could do was refer to them to customer service. Wait, but like that's not, again, that one's tough because like if you were able to do it and with the tool, then the only separation between the person that has the thing and then the thing they want is skill set. That's not a indictment on the drone, in my opinion. I don't know how that works out. When things I showed to work, yeah, that's a strange one, but yeah. I'm subscribed to everyone, so I get everyone's video. Embargo is lifted. I see Camco video for my time might be flooded. Hey, Ike, you just happy to hear from us, bro. You just be happy that we're all winning, okay? Because every time I see a young lady with not that many clothes, I assume it's one of your videos. You know what I don't do? I don't yell about it. In fact, I might watch a couple. I said that when my girlfriend's in the house. Now I'm going to get beat up. I'm joking. Why not Pix is 12K? Larry, because no one has one yet, bro. Hey, no one got one yet. So we'll see. Just shouted so dope. Oh, thank you, man. There was things I really wanted to do a lot more with that to make it more of the style that I wanted. But when you're in the middle of February and you want to shoot outside, you want to get multiple locations, not the best time in the world to do that. Would you recommend the Nikon Z8 for a primary video shooter who wants good photos as well as one body, or should I wait till mid-May? Joey, I've never used a Nikon Z8, so it would be in poor faith for me to tell you one way or the other. I know people like it. Like I could tell you people like it, but I couldn't from a personal use experience. I have a Z6. I have a Z6 III somewhere in the house. Actually, I literally looked at it. I have a Z6 III, and that's great. So I can't imagine the Z8 being any worse. My go-to people watch Gerald and Dunn, Cam for creativity, and Kofi for a little bit of both, and Terry because he's black. Hey, least you honest. One day we'll sit in those rooms. Evan, I think you're a lot closer than you think, bro. Okay, so Terry does have his eCam link, so he can come on whenever. When do we get an F? Hang on a second. Oh, Cam just sent me something. When do we get an FX3 with OpenGate and built-in? Well, I mean, a built-in NDA would be. I can't tell you. Jason, I don't know. Nobody knows. Actually, when you see the 20 videos on your feed with the embargoes that was something that ticks you off, that's when we get it. That when you'll know when you'll see it. You'll know when you'll see the 30 videos on embargo day. I watch Terry stuff because he's so anti-AI like me. That's fair. Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, Cam, send me the fix to fix up his Rec 709. Appreciate you answering feedback, sir. No problem. Jason, not going to happen. That's why you have the FX6 and FX9, and they can't keep them things on a shelf. They sell out of those. Like the FX6, for me personally, had the most amount of like views and stuff like that. Not like mostly because I made a ton of videos on it, but also because like you couldn't get one for like 2 years. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff that other cameras are going to be used for. Built-in NDs on a small mirrorless camera. I don't know where we've decided that that's a thing that can happen, but I don't think it is. Oh, look who it is. Oh, shoot.
I don't
Here
know
we
if
go
y'all can
again.
hear me because I'm literally sitting in the car and
We
the
can.
signal is terrible here.
You choppy, though.
Like mad choppy.
Like, you're at, like, maybe 3 frames a second. Maybe.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try something.
Playing the Where's Terry game. Terry, smile. I'm done.
All right. What about now?
It's even. Hang on. I think you're okay. You're like
Should I?
you're like 18 frames a second now. Like you're a lot better now.
Okay, that's doable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, hey y'all. Hey everybody. I can't see comments or anything like that.
It's okay. Right now, I just caught up to chat. Basically, we were talking about press trips, clicks. Is there a secret group of people that are running the show behind the scenes in YouTube and all that other stuff?
Can I offer some advice to everybody in here?
Go for it.
I think you got
Can you
the
hang on
wrong idea about
Terry? Your connection, as soon as you offer advice, got so bad. You might need to get some. You might need to get that 5G, bro. You said, "Can I offer some advice?" And then all was like, "Can I offer some advice?" No. And then it came back. Wait, hang on. How far are you from home?
I mean, I gotta go in the grocery store first.
Okay. You want to just I could say on the live, like that's fine.
Well, if you can't hear me, I mean, I don't know how crowded it is in here.
Okay. I can hear you right now. So maybe take it like tell me the advice now. I just want to see if it works.
All right. The one thing I want y'all to focus on is not how do I get on press trips. What you should be focusing on is how do I build my authentic audience.
Say it again. Say it again for the people in the back.
Build your channel. Build your channel for you and your audience, not to make brands happy. Unless you just want your business model to be that. My advice is just do you and build a community of people who rock with you because they like you. Don't create videos with the expectation that if I do this enough times, you build a community to rock with you. Eventually, the brand has to come to you. because they want access to your audience.
So what Terry was saying before it
So,
became a Daft Punk
did that
song,
all come through clear?
like the first half of it did, but then you turned into a Daft Punk song. But basically, he's saying like focus on actually making like building an audience and making a channel, making a solid personal brand, because press trips don't invite metrics; they invite creators, but they also invite creators that are part of a bigger community. Because at the end of the day, for the prosperity of the brand, prosperity of the creator, building an audience is going to be at the forefront. It's an inexcusable thing. You can't get away from it. And also it trumps everything, right? Like we were talking about like tariffs and stuff like that before, and like economic turbulence and stuff like that. But a lot of that can be navigated through a lot easier when you've already built the community around the thing that you're doing. Because then you could pivot and then you can do things in different ways and other doors could open. The same thing happens when you build up an authentic audience and an authentic engaged audience too. Some people have an authentic audience that don't want to engage with their content. So
Yeah, that was basically what I was saying without the signal problems.
wait, Angela, who's the guy that switched from Lumix to Nikon? But yeah, no, that's the thing with press trips, and I think me and Cam were talking about this earlier about like I guess some people see that as like, oh, you're taking a vacation, and I'm like, this what we just were on was anything but a vacation. We were running around trying to figure out how to use this thing in Norway, trying to figure out all the settings that are in it, trying to figure out, hey, I have no lab tests, so I don't like I can only qualify the dynamic range of the S1R2 as good or bad, or the rolling shutter as good or bad. And we don't know every single autofocusing mode and how many milliseconds it takes to overheat with which card it is, with how much storage filmed on. Like we don't know any of that stuff, right? So we're just running around doing what we can, and all of that stuff is kind of tough. It's a lot of work.
I'm hesitant to say anything because I'll probably sound like I'm underwater.
I heard that one clearly.
Oh, well, that's yeah, y'all. Just focus on building your brand. Like if you build an audience or if you build a channel based off of trying to make brands happy, you will be enslaved to that for the entire life of your channel.
Yeah.
Then it's just a job.
Oh, big cook switch
Now,
Loomis.
I'm not saying not appeal to the things you want, to go after, but just focus on you first. Focus on your personality, your branding, and eventually they'll come. And if they don't, it's their loss.
Well, there's this thing also, and we were talking about it earlier. I think Mighty Miggy asked about it. Um, it's called the push method versus the pull method, right? Where the push method is what we would do in freelance business, where we would email every single brand, right? We'd always go after different people. We'd always email and DM, be like, hey, this is my brand, like this is my service, whatever. I want to work with you, whatever. And sometimes, a lot of times, you'd have to send so many emails and DM so many people in order to have that work. Whereas the pull method, which I prefer, is I just worked on the stuff that I was doing and shared that part and let the companies and the brands come to me. Now, obviously, you could do a hybrid, you could do a combination of the both, but one of the things is that there's leverage in building up yourself. When you go out and you're constantly begging people to engage, you lose that type of leverage. And that's where some people fall flat in terms of their brands. And that's why the conversation is, well, how do I get invited to these things, and not how do I just build an authentic community that someone would want to bring me?
I think the other thing, before I go in this grocery store, and then I'll jump back on when I get home. Let me know if you can
Yeah.
still hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of times we see these press trips that we go on, and from the outside looking in, it looks like, oh man, these guys are so lucky. They get to do this, that, and the third. But here's the reality of it, bro. You are not being chosen because, and I'm trying to find a good way to say this. You're being chosen to go on this trip because they have something, you have something that they want. Whether that's a unique
You went into Daft Punk and Freeze. Hey, Terry, you Daft Punkin' right now.
All right, froze up.
Yeah, like the second you're right about when you're about to cook, freeze up. Must be Fuji. Fuji got you. Fuji got your cell phone connection, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, the dislike bot got him too. Dang. Yeah, Terry. You know what? Okay, Terry, get your groceries. Uh, go get your milk. We'll wait. Hang on a second. Hey, Terry got like kicked off this thing. Yeah. How? Wait. What? Did you change something?
I left and came back.
Fair enough. Okay, try that one more time because you were cooking, but like you went straight early 2000s Daft Punk for like 5 minutes.
All right, I'm gonna try this one more time, and then I'm gonna shut up and get off of here.
All right, say less.
Basically what I'm trying to say is the press trips are cool, but the brands are getting a whole lot more out of it than you are. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but what I'm saying is it's not like some reward that you get because you're special. It's you have something that they want, okay? It's an exchange. And a lot
Mm,
of times like the reason that they're inviting you is because at the end of the day they know they're going to get something on the back end from you.
mm-hmm.
They know they're going to get promotion, they know they're going to get access to your audience, they know they're going to like whatever flavor you bring, they're looking for that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, yeah, the press trips are cool, but it's also not like this prestigious thing that everybody makes it out to be.
Yeah.
You have something that they want, and
Well,
you get to go experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want, like, it's not a prestigious thing. Sure, it's dope, but it's not like it shouldn't be the goal.
no, and it's also it's an exchange too, right? Like we were talking about this before. There are benefits to being first to some of these releases. 1000% there is. All right. And the ability to get early access, to be able to get at the jump on things, to be current and be at the top of the top of the top, unless the audience in a very significant way stops watching those things, then that's continuing to be part of the culture, right? We only make videos that audiences watch, and being at the forefront of a release something like that is the easiest way to do that. So there is an exchange that's there. But yeah, I would definitely argue that brands get the longer end of that stick because for me, I don't work for 4 days. For them, they may sell more units, right? But at the same time, that's the exchange that you agree to and participate in. And I don't think there's a problem with that.
And also don't think that just because you didn't have early access to something that you can't make a successful video. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when you wait a couple weeks after launch and the initial wave has died down, once people start getting the products in hands and then they want to know how to set it up and they want to watch things that confirm that either they love it or they hate it. Like you can still drop we've all dropped videos that were trashed at the beginning and you look up in 2 months and they got 100,000 views, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to give y'all the whole picture. I'm not saying that the press trips aren't dope, but if I didn't go on press trips, I honestly wouldn't lose no sleep.
No, and like to be fair, like my entire channel was brought up on 2 cameras. I never got an embargo day. I didn't get the
That's it.
FX30 on embargo, nor the FX6 or I got the FX3. I got the 6 and 3 a year later, and I got the FX30 on release, but I just bought it.
Yeah. I think my overarching message is just focus on building you, man.
Yep.
Focus on building your brand, not trying to make brands happy. I get so many messages like, "What do I got to do to get in with Sony or Lumix? Give me a plug." Like, I mean, no.
Well,
if you well, it's not always no, but it's why a plug is not always helpful.
yes, I was gonna say that, and also the plug sometimes actually works against your favor if you do it at the wrong time.
It does. That's right. So I would rather point you back like, yo, go make the videos you want to make, get people interested, get them hyped. And once you have a catalog of videos, then it's a lot easier for me to go back to this rep like, yo, look at this person making all these Sony videos or whatever. Maybe y'all should check them out. Um, but I don't like making those type of connections unless somebody's like seriously invested in like building their own brand.
Yep.
And honestly, like I did it backwards. I only talked about, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, only focusing on one thing for your channel, right? But I just wish somebody had given me this advice at the beginning, like, because at sometimes I feel like I'm enslaved to this product culture. You know what I'm saying? Because I was always like, yo, let me make the product videos, and instead of let me focus on building a engaged, dope audience that I can take anywhere.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Because like it's been a year since I've made a Sony video, and the audience has doubled. So I don't like it has nothing. It's not product focus. It's more about what you say and the people that rock with it, rather than the thing that you're saying. Or sorry, rather than the topic, rather than the gear. It's more about the people that like the gear and how you engage with those people, rather than the particular thing that it is.
Yeah.
But yo, get your groceries and then just send me a text. I'll probably be on for a little bit. Um, yeah, I'll probably call it at 2 hours. So I'll be on for a while.
All right, I'll hit you when I get back. Peace, chat.
All right. All right, we're gonna broadcast a super chat real quick. So Samuel David Cinema, send me a message because I did not forget. I owe you a little bit of my time talking about this particular topic in depth. Thank you for the super chat. Hang on a second. I think you actually said something down here. One of the most authentic transmitted YouTubers out there. Thank you. Mostly because my mom watches these. So if I lie and my mom finds out, I wish that was a joke, but I would get in so much trouble. Like if I lied to you guys about a particular camera or whatever, and a video was made about me and it was like truthful, I would get in so much trouble. And my mom would probably make me record it and post it on my channel. So that would suck. Also, I wanted to bring something up because Sean is actually the Lumix uncle. So I don't think I'd be on any of these trips if he wasn't here. But he's something really, really important. Authenticity and community is key. You get on the radar by building up others, not by looking out for yourself. So that's exactly what Terry was saying in a nutshell. This is coming directly from people that are going to manage who gets to go to the party and who doesn't. A lot of those things have to do with being able to control what you can control, and you can control making good content and creating an audience and creating a brand. You can't control who's sending out condo invites. You can't control pretty much anything that has to do with who gets products, who gets invited to what, how much budget a brand has for your brand deal. You can only really control making good stuff. So I would worry more about that than how do you game the system to get the things that you want. Introvert amateur, how's it going? Oh man, no. Like I said, shout out to Big Cook, and I think somebody asked who that was. We only work for shout outs though. Absolutely not, Jason. I can't pay my rent, car insurance, or my gas with shout outs. I know what you're talking about, and it's wild that somebody would ask you to do that. But again, this entire YouTube game, like just making content in general, is a game of leverage like any other business is, right? So you have to consider those things. Thomas McClure, my homie's out in the cut. A nice way to build a channel too. Obviously, it's nicer to have followers who are interested in you, your take, your experience, and your gear, rather than just the gear itself. Yes, as much as people say they are sick of gear, I don't necessarily think that's the whole story. I think people are sick of not having a connection to the people that they're watching anymore. Good advice from Terry: don't build channel on brands. Build in photography. Many viewers follow YouTuber who speaks only about the brand or system. If Angela, say that one again. I lost the second half of that. Terry, go get your milk. Well, wait. Don't let Terry have milk. Don't let Terry have milk. I'm being so serious. If you go on the press trip, you are the product. It's work, just a nicer place. To be fair, that's what it feels like. And like, let's all be completely honest here. There's worse jobs in the world. I could be doing so many worse things other than like going all over the world, testing out different camera stuff. Absolutely. It's still work though. I wouldn't call it a vacation, but it's work that I enjoy and work that everybody that's going enjoys too. So there's a give and take there. But yes, absolutely. You are the product, and it is work at the end of the day. And as before, but was there drama before Lumix Japan trip, or was the origins last few years? I think there was a bubbling up of it, and I think when like the whole Japan fiasco happened, I think that's where like things kind of boiled over, and that's where like it became trendy to do the whole like truth about YouTubers things, but also at the same time, like outside of some creators, like outside of like also not talking to those creators, but knowing the truth about them, which was incredibly weird logic. But yeah, and I think that's where it became a little bit trendy. Like I saw a video yesterday and I can't remember what it was. And it was like the truth about camera reviewers and why I'm sick of them. And that's something to do with like an Osmo camera. And I guess the thing that made them disbelieve them was like something that was very particular to their use case and not something that they were dishonest about. Where I'm like, well, that just sounds like you used a camera for something else and you wanted the other. Again, not getting into it, but yeah, I think that's been bubbling up for the last little bit. And I also think the older version of YouTube, quote unquote, pre-pandemic, there was a lot of hard selling there where now people are like, camera, cool. Let me shoot a bunch, tell you what it does, and then move on with my day. So, plus extra cost, fees, hire cars, food, etc. Yeah, Jason, we were talking about that before. Like when we go on some of these press trips, oftentimes like we're renting cars, we're getting our own food if we have allergies or we just don't want to eat the food there. We ate everything at Norway. But anyways, the some of the other expenses that happen is especially if you stay longer, because oftentimes if we have the means to do it or if we have other videos we can do, we'll stay longer. So seemed like the other previous relationships didn't get that sort of heat before then. Thomas, I'll give you one even better. Trips that happened in the same year didn't get that much heat then, because I went to condo like a couple months later and nobody said anything when the 85mm came out. I also went to the first condo where 2 cameras and a lens came out and nobody said anything either. So sometimes it feels like selective outrage. Hey, thanks for you popping in, bro. But some lens companies do email, and now I'm not sure how to navigate that part of YouTube. Introvert amateur, what I would say is, again, game of leverage. It's a supply and demand thing. If they're not offering you money and you're not interested in the lenses, or you don't think that video is going to get you any sort of leverage or any sort of return, you can always just say no, right? Like, again, things are going to be mutual benefit, right? So if someone gives you, say, a lens company that you're not really into, I would not take it, especially if it's just the lens, because what are you going to do with the lens after the fact? Then if you're not going to use it, what's the point? Where at the same time, like sometimes you get a lens and they give you budget. Like I just did a Viltrox video and I want the Z mount version of it. So I'm going to try to exchange, to kind of switch that over from the E mount to Z mount. But the 35mm, I got paid a budget on top and I get to keep the lens. But that's something that I would use in everyday life. Probably more so for video than I would for photo, or the other way around. But yeah, just got to keep in mind, like if someone offers you a product on exchange, if you have no use for it, you could just say no. And truthfully, you're not missing much when you do. Say no. Thomas, this whole discussion, okay, after that's 9, which is uninvited. There's more inside baseball about that, where that not every single one of those details are entirely true. Those things sound one and the same. Focusing on gear for the brands and also trying to build a community. Jason, examples of this. It kind of depends on who it is. It depends on how you do it too. So for example, not even for example, I think people will package their videos so people can watch them. So for example, if I decided to make that Trish Stratus video that I just did, and I just said, shout out commercials Trish Stratus, there might be less viewers there than if I didn't put Ursa 12K on there and I didn't incorporate the tool into the video. And that's just a semblance of like YouTube is audience tracking behavior, not necessarily brand tracking behavior, because there are things that you work with brands that don't resonate well with the audience. So there is a little bit of a difference in there as well. Although the two things are closer together, they are still going to be different. Ray as well. Hey, respects, bro. Man, y'all was cooking me. Yeah, Terry, you brought that Temu Wi-Fi in the live stream. That's what happened. Sean's laughing at me. Or Terry, I'm not sure. On press trips, do creators check in on each other to make sure they don't say the same thing in the video for launch day? Absolutely not. There's been multiple launches I've been on where we just show the stuff we've shot, or if like there's a problem, we're trying to figure out if we're the crazy one. But in terms of like even showing each other videos, nobody does. Because like, keep it a full stack. You guys don't have the time to watch every single Embargo video. I don't have the time to watch every single Embargo video while I'm making my own. So generally speaking, no, we don't really look at each other's videos unless it's something like, hey, I shot this really cool thing. Like I want you guys to see it. Or I think of the S1R2 when the first person that had overheating was like, hey, have you guys had this issue? And we're like, no, we didn't. How did you do that? How do we recreate that? And we were trying to figure it out together. So there's certain aspects of launches. I'm only referring to the S1R2 because that was the last thing I was on. But yeah, generally speaking, when something happens like that, like we'll contact each other if something goes wrong. But no one watches each other's videos before it comes out. We'll find stuff out like when it happens, mostly because people are working on the video up until the day before, so there's no time to watch everybody else's. So Giovanni, you ended up making it out, coming right back, and we haven't gone anywhere. Will you be going to build this year? Absolutely. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. And I think I'm going a little bit earlier. Also, I think I could drive there. So I also, no, man. In terms of creators kind of like trying to figure stuff out, in terms of videos, we don't check in with each other. And that's probably why you hear the same thing over and over again, is because we don't check in with each other. Yeah, we don't ask. And when videos come out, like everyone's video on Embargo Day is the first time I've seen their videos outside of like Cam's or Terry's, because I talk to them I've FaceTime Cam and Terry twice before this live stream. So not really. Even if we all say the same stuff, we all have different perspective in the way of saying, yeah. So that's Terry kind of hit the nail on the head. Getting people to buy in, and you can make anything. Larry, getting people to buy into you will allow you to make anything. Yeah, I agree with that. That's where you get people like Mattiavella, Life of Riza, and stuff like that, where like people have bought into the person so they could talk about anything. But a lot of that comes with, or a lot of stuff that comes before that is you have to exchange on what the person wants in the first place. So in order for people to care about me doing Uncle Kofi, doing the Ghanaian language of the day, I would still have to provide value to you rather than me just jumping on YouTube in an accent and talking at you. It wouldn't work, right? So in order for you to kind of do the things you want to do, you still have to give things to the audience, because then there's a reciprocity there, right? Like if anyone's ever, it's a value exchange. So if I want something from somebody, I have to give that offer. I have to offer that same amount of value back, or some sort of value back. Kind of the same thing that works with YouTube, man. Just landed in Mexico, but I paid for this and it's a work trip. Oh, you paid for it and it's a work trip. Sounds like you got tricked, Doc. I'm just kidding. I also got to get your pop filters soon, because there was people complaining that I need a little something over here. I haven't figured that out yet, but I will. Doc Rock in the chat. Yes, sir. I still have to get my Ecamm affiliate link. I did send the emails to who I need to send them to. Didn't do the whole rest of it. Hey, Doc is a celebrity. Okay, so we caught up. Oh, wait. Oh, what? Wow. Okay, there you go. I accidentally scrolled all the way to the top. Does anyone have more? Sean, since you're here, Sean, if you're still in the chat, how do you pick, like, how do you, if you were to give a criterion of how you would pick someone to go on some of these things? If you can talk about it, if you can't, blink twice. How do you pick who gets on these trips, or how do brands do that? I'm trying to be delicate with that, because I don't know if I'm asking questions I'm not allowed to ask. But yeah, how do brands, from your perspective, how do brands choose creators that go? If you were to give like a top 5 criteria. Samuel David Cinema. It's a balance between what you enjoy and what you're passionate about, but what the viewers value and engage with. Exactly. And that's why you often will see people talk about their work in like cinematography and commercial, and then they'll put something about the camera gear. They'll put something about the camera gear in the video, because that's like when I talk about work, most people will never be in the same situation as me. So they don't care what I have to say as far as like me talking about lighting setups and talent and stuff like that. They don't care as much as what's the connector point that I can be close to feeling what that is, which I'm assuming is success. So when you add in the gear to it, and I say I shot this with this camera, it feels kind of like, oh, well, I can do that too, right? Like if I decide to shoot a documentary on the S9, people that have the S9, or people that are enthused about the S9 or interested or know what it is, have a connection point now where they could say, oh, okay, like I know what that is. I want to hear the rest of it. But if I just talk about shooting a documentary, not as many people care. As much as people say they want to see BTS and all that other stuff, not as many people care. Get those likes in if you've forgotten. Subscribe for more great jollof recipes. There's only one Ghana jollof, so you have to just click the subscribe button before the Nigerians come and dislike the video again. So you have to make sure you put on the like button, because the Nigerians they've come and pressed the dislike. But it is 419. It's not real. It's a 419. You cannot pay attention to those tints. So why don't you use OBS? Because I'm doing just fine on Ecamm, my friend. That's pretty much it. It's like, why don't you use Canon? Because I got 3 Lumixes and 2 Nikons and a Fuji at home. I don't have any other. I wish I had a more like articulate answer, but that's pretty much all I got. 1 second, and I'll give you my perspective. I want to hear this one, because I'll be real with you guys. When I get contacted by Sean for anything, I'm like, bro, I got like half of the subscriber count of the people that normally do this stuff. Why are you calling me? So we're going to figure out how Kofi got to go to Japan. So let's do that. I think Lumix do it really well. A good variety, and not just big channels either. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, from going to Lumix events and then also going to Sony Condo, they kind of both do that. But I think what ends up happening is that so many people go to Condo that you like totally don't even realize it. But yeah, because also like the largest audience in terms of subscriber count isn't necessarily always the best ones who go to the trip. Perfect. Okay, basically, I look for those who focus on factual information to share to the industry, those who have built their communities on honesty and support for fellow creators. Which that does not say anything about subscriber count. Just want you to keep in mind. Those who are not afraid to go their own way with the content that they want to make. Again, that had nothing to do with subscriber counts. It had nothing to do with brand deals or anything like that. To be fair, like, one is kind of a quality of the other. If someone has a larger audience, they probably have done that first part already. But for the most part, those are the two things to focus on. And as somebody who's gone on these trips where like people who have like 1/10 of my audience and me having 1/10 of somebody else's audience are all on the same trip, the proof is in that pudding there. I don't think there's any sort of mincing words here. I think what Sean said is exactly what it is. Bring Sean on the Ecamm call. Sean, if you are already set up and you want to jump on Ecamm, let me know. Sure, viewership subscribers are important, but it's not the important metric for me. Sean's the one who sends those damn emails. So in terms of, and I've been on, like, literally, I've been on trips where we were sitting on the bus on our way to Tromsø, and I was like, Sean, why the hell am I here? Why am I the only one from Toronto here? And if you guys know anything about Toronto and its relationship with YouTube, everyone from YouTube is from Toronto. And I was the only one on that flight. So I asked him, and that's more or less exactly what he told me. Was a feature a brand trip? Kind of yes and kind of no. So Blackmagic actually sponsored some of the production budget for us to come as second unit. Axoon, I think, covered our flights. Condor Blue sponsored, like, we got paid from Condor Blue. And I'm forgetting one. Lucid Link also sponsored the trip as well. So it was a brand trip, but it wasn't for a release. Now, Larry, I'm sure you're asking this because there's a really funny story that happened, and it has to do with me trolling. Yeah, 1 second. Sean actually might come on the stream. We might get Sean from Lumix on here. Yeah, 1 second. Let me just go into here. Copied. Let me just send this. We might get a special guest in here. But yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go back to the Italy trip because that was kind of a funny story. So during the Italy trip, I thought it'd be hilarious. And I'm like, what if I just like trolled the audience and made it sound like it was a pre-release thing coming out? We were shooting on 2 Pixuses, and like I brought my Pixus with us to shoot a second camera. And while we were there, I was like posting a bunch of stuff, being like, "Oh God, like I know what they don't want to tell you, like something's coming." And it was just me like putting emojis on the Pixus. I didn't know the Pixus 12K was coming out. I was just doing that for fun. And then we got back, the Pixus 12K got released, and I'm like, everyone's gonna think I knew, but I didn't know. So fun story, but yeah. Continuation of what Sam just said. They're trying to put their own spin on the. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to put my own spin on my gear videos for sure. You actually do a really good job, man. I wouldn't don't discount yourself. If you haven't watched Sam's stuff, really solid. Hey, do we have who do we have here? Let's go. Wait, hang on. Where's your anamorphic lens? What's going on here? Where is
I literally my entire desktop computer is torn apart on my desk as I'm
damn.
rebuilding it.
Dang, okay. So for those of you guys that live under a rock, this is I'm gonna call him Uncle Lumix. This is Sean. If you ever see me on anything Lumix related, it's probably because he sent me an email, and then I'm like, "Hey, Sean," exactly what I said. I'm like, "I don't have the largest audience. How the hell did you? Why'd you email me? Why am I here?" Um, who did you? My mom called you and told you to bring me here, didn't she? But
Yes. No.
let's talk. Let's talk brand trips. I mean, it's really fun going to Norway. Going to Japan was really dope. I kind of want to talk about. I guess one, I guess I'll let people want to know how you get on them. I think another thing people want to know are like, what are the expectations, if there's any, when you're on them? Because for me, I haven't necessarily felt pressure doing anything. Usually, when I'm like, I want to go to Japan, I'm like, well, yeah, I want to talk about whatever the thing is before, and I want to get it before anybody else does.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so from our perspective, at least from my perspective, I mean, like I don't know, it's just like kind of looking at almost everything that I kind of just put in in the chat,
Yeah,
like just honesty is the most important thing for us to be on these kinds of things, and truthfully, like outside of that, yeah, I,
yeah.
I don't know how much more I can really add than what I chat in there. So
So like, and I think there was also a point of it we were talking about too. I think this is where we're talking like in Norway, way back, and it was
mm,
something you mentioned that was really important because I was confused. I'm like, I'm the only one from Toronto here. Um, I don't know I don't know how that decision making happened, and it was something you mentioned about like you guys want to enjoy the trip just as much as you want everybody else to. So part of that process is also curating like people that'll gel well together, actually enjoy the trip as well for what the trip is too, because you could have a large
yeah,
audience and not want to go and not
yeah,
enjoy going to these things to begin with.
yeah, because there's always a balance of wanting, you know honesty, wanting, solid integrity, wanting the entire event and the experience for everybody to be as stress free as possible, because like as you mentioned, it's like everyone's got the same thing going on in their mind, is like, oh gee, like I'm gonna go do this event, I have to take off work, I have to not take client work and stuff like that, and that is something that, and I'm fair to say this is probably a similar approach from anybody that's in my position, is we're all aware of
Hmm.
that you guys have to put out a decent amount of your time to participate in anything. So making sure that everyone can get the most out of the time that you're ever there, that you know you're in an environment that is helping your creativity, not taking away from it,
Hmm.
because in the end, if it becomes an ultra stressful event or time, then it kind of doesn't really do good for anybody. And my dog is deciding to say hi to everybody, sorry.
It's okay. Cam's dog literally puts her hand up when she wants food. She'll literally stick her arm up and stare at him.
Mine's still learning personal boundaries, so it's just gonna like arch over me, make sure I don't say anything stupid.
So your dog is your dog just Lumix head office?
Yeah, pretty much.
Your dog was sent there by Japan. Um,
Yeah.
I was gonna say what else. So like, also like out of curiosity, because I'm always curious about this. How do you guys pick what we do when we go?
Oh, uh, so a lot of times, I, for us at least, our biggest goal is it's hands off for the
Mm,
most part. It's the whole purpose of, if there's cool stuff that people want to talk about or look at, or that a company is trying to show somebody, like yeah, having like hand holding people through an entire event, that's just not something that I've ever seen interest in before I
Hmm.
got onto this side of the industry. So it comes down to like, hey, if there's going to be a cool place that, something's going to happen at, cool, we'll find something that's unique to that area and be like, hey, we want to kind of show you this area. And by the way, it's kind of some cool stuff to create content about. Outside of that, it's really, I mean, you can tell me, it's really about you guys need time to do whatever it is you want. And anyone from our team is just there as support. Like, hey, did you run into a problem with it? Cool, come find us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, go have fun. We'll see you at dinner.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were talking. Like we were talking about this earlier about like it being way like when most people misconstrue and think, oh, it's a vacation. I'm like, the amount of like stuff we have to rummage through because we're like we have 3 days with Sean and Matt where you can get an answer right away. If we take it as a vacation and we wait till like day 3 breakfast and we're like, hey, by the way, I have a question about every single setting in the red menu. It's not like, you know what I mean? And to be able to find those things because the engineers aren't necessarily beta testing the camera. Like that's kind of our job in a way. We have to kind of figure those things out. And then also we're bouncing off other creators that may not know how to fix it either. So it is like as much as
And
you're in a great location, you get to see a lot of cool things. Obviously, you get to shoot a bunch of dope stuff. There's still very much as an element of like I still got to rummage through this thing so I could at least put together something half coherent and ask questions along the way.
yeah, yeah, no, it is so much more work than I think comes across in the final, results that everybody makes. I think as you guys said, it was like it's fun. It's an awesome experience to do these things. Even from my side, it's an awesome experience to be putting them together. But boy, is it tiring.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure right after some of those events, it's like literally I'm dead to the world for like a day or two. Like my my wife, my dog are like, "Hey, are you alive? Are you gonna like come out of the bedroom or at least like wake up or something during the day?" It's a lot.
Yeah. And we like it's funny because like we'll have the creator trips and then we'll have like other things right after. I'll have client stuff and have other things after. So I had like the Trish Stratus shoot right before we went to Norway and then came back home. They're like, by the way, you're going to Los Angeles, so figure it out. So there is a lot of balancing act that you have to do there. Um I think one of the questions too, and I think that and I have no idea if this is allowed to be answered. Um but when the embargo videos come out, right? Somebody says
Mm.
something we're like, hey, you know what? I didn't like that there wasn't a viewfinder on the S9. Does stuff like that bar you from going back on another trip? Because I feel like there's a misconception where like you're not allowed to say anything wrong, and I'm like, that's not true. Because like if it's true, then a brand's not going to get mad at you if you like. We'll go to the S9. I'll go back to 2024.
That's fine.
It's not like Lumix doesn't know there isn't a viewfinder on the camera or that there's a
Yeah.
time limit on it. Like it's not those aren't things that people they don't know. So by pointing those things out as potential downsides, like that wouldn't be like I don't know, in my head I'm like that's not something that I'd be like I got to fault that guy for it because he told us something that you could
Yeah.
quite readily find. Also, if you find it out later, you could just return it.
Well, yeah, and that kind of goes to that whole point of, some of the curation about who you bring to an event or who you in general, honestly, who you just engage with. Um it I know always looks from the outside that a lot of times, you just want a bunch of yes people, on board, right? Just touting all the greatest things about a product. And the fact of the matter is that does nobody any good, especially even us, because if all of a sudden, people start going out there saying, "Oh, the viewfinder's not a problem for me or for anybody," and like that's the only message that ever comes out. Well, you're gonna get the people that it is a problem for, and they're gonna feel slighted. And when when it comes down to looking at, how people talk about product or how they engage with, your community, it all boils back down to that authenticity. I know that a lot of people are well, with the S9, I knew a lot of people were not going to be happy about not having a viewfinder. I wasn't happy that it didn't have a viewfinder, but I still loved the camera, personally.
Mhm.
So really making sure that, like, hey, this is why we built it, this is how we built it. If you don't like the viewfinder, cool, say it in a video. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. It's never going to bar you from like never being invited again, that kind of thing. um I think a lot of that mentality grows from what I like to call is like brand tribalism. It's that it has to be the most perfect thing for my brand, from my brand, and if you say anything bad about it, you're the devil. And truth is, it doesn't work like that. Everyone has their own perspectives, their own needs in a product, and if that's the one thing that, some people don't like about the one product, but everything else is, on line with what they want, that person to me is giving actually a much more uh, complete evaluation of
Yeah.
something, because they're equally telling you, this was what I didn't like, it doesn't have this, but I really liked this, and for me, the math works out that I like it, or the math works out I didn't really like it. It doesn't
Yeah.
really get better than that for, viewers that are looking to spend their money on something.
Yeah.
So
Like my philosophy is like, if it's not for me, then I shouldn't buy it necessarily. And also, I feel like some of the audience also need like an objective criterion. I think I put I have a notebook. I'm gonna put it in another video, but I have a notebook and it has a checklist on it, and it's like everything that I want from a camera. And if I can't check off all the boxes when it comes to embargo day, then I don't buy it. Because then like
yeah.
there's nothing anybody on any channel can tell you unless I lie to you. Like if I tell you, hey, the S1R2 has red raw in it, and that's a box that checks off. Well, then like I buy the camera and find out it's not there. I'm like, well, like, outside of that stuff, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I Aside from the fact that, like, one, in many places, and this is something that does baffle me about the internet too. I mean, although it shouldn't baffle me about the internet at this point in
it's
my
the internet.
life. Yeah. It's that, everyone goes out there and they think that, there's all this like clever, slick stuff going on when someone posts a video, or you guys have to say in the videos, like, that this isn't sponsored, that we in no way get to see the videos or make comments about it ahead of time. That is probably the truest thing that has ever existed in this industry, because, for one, in many places, it would be illegal if you said that and it wasn't true. Like, not just lightly illegal, like pretty severely illegal.
Yeah.
Um, and even from our side, it's like, you said it before. It's like, I don't have time to go through that stuff.
I was just about to say, I'm
I
like,
have
even if everybody on the embargo for the S9 sent you their videos, would you watch them?
Oh, hell no, hell no,
Like
God no.
if you and Matt sat down and said like, everyone send your videos, we're gonna comb through, make sure that you check off all the boxes for like what 75 videos, would you? No one would watch them. And even if like
Oh God,
what
no.
we went to Japan in like May, and the camera came out like 2 weeks later or a couple days after we got home, you couldn't
Ugh,
watch you couldn't even watch every video to verify that we said nice things to start off
exactly.
with.
Yeah. It's it's been said online before about, the uproar that comes about all this stuff, and like all the negativity that comes around videos and launch days and embargoes and all these things. And I think it really does boil down to what Gerald said about it, is that a lot of times people look for reasons that they don't want to buy something.
Yeah.
And and that I think is more true now than it's ever been. So the issue comes up now that it's people take it too seriously. They take it as if it's an attack on their brand, or if it's
Yeah.
attack on their favorite creator. And it's not to say that, when someone says something bad about the product, do I not feel annoyed by it? Of course I do. I'm human. But it is being able to compartmentalize that stuff and be like, well, it's a fair criticism, or this is a fair perspective, and it's not going to be a product for everybody. Some people just like watching tech videos. I watch tech YouTube all the time on stuff that I'm never going to buy and I have no interest in buying,
Mm-hmm.
but it's entertaining. So this world is the same, like the imaging and the video and photo world, it's all the same. So yeah, kind of like round circle, it's that, like, just produce content that you like to create, and you'll find like-minded people. I think Terry's video the other day was great about it, about just start creating videos, great stuff that you want to create, and you'll find communities out there.
Yep.
And you know build that community up. Don't just do it all for yourself.
The amount of people that
Do
I
some
know,
of it for yourself.
yeah, do something because you like it.
Some
But
of it.
like, but to that point of like, you'll find community in anything. I'm like, the amount of channels I've seen that have blown up that like open Pokemon cards. They don't play the game. They don't even play the game. They just open the cards
Yes.
and they just tell you what they got. And I'm like that, and that was huge in 2020. I'm like, well, if that
Yeah.
guy could find it, like, I could figure anything out from there. Um,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask what your favorite camera was actually, and is it a Lumix camera? You're the only one watching
Um.
this. You're the only one here. So,
No. So my taking out the fact that I'm in the unique position that I am, that I have every single one of our cameras. Um. My current favorite is the S1R Mark II, but that is because I come from a much more photo oriented background
mm,
than video. Um. My second favorite camera is it's a toss up between the S9 or actually an LX100 Mark II, just our point and
oh,
shoot.
I only real like I got introduced in Lumix around like the GH4 series. So everything after that, I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't know there was compact cameras made till Tom Colton made a video, and I was like,
Yep.
Lumix makes like, oh, okay. I thought in my head, I thought the S9 was the first pocket sized camera that Lumix made.
Oh
Which
God, no, no.
which shows how much I know, like, which shows A, how much I know about Lumix cameras, and B, how mad people get when I like misspeak. Like, I think I did
Oh
on the
yeah.
S1R2 video, I was talking about like the screen and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of borrows it from like the A7R5. So many people got mad. Oh, my gosh, the amount of people that got
Yeah.
mad, and I'm like, well, to be fair, the
Didn't you know
only
the S1H had that?
no, I've never had one, and I know
Yeah.
one person with the S1 from like 2019. I know one person, and he has
Yeah.
the big 50 mil, like the big, like the forearm size, like 50 millimeter.
Yes.
That's it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and that's the only time I've seen it. And I'm like, cool. I didn't know you existed. So I just assumed
Yeah.
that was new. Uh, so yeah, I had no idea. Shoot, I had another question too about trips and stuff like that, because a lot of people had a lot of questions about them. Um,
Yeah.
Question, and I wonder, I don't know if this is something that is possible, because me and Cam were talking about this before, but usually, some of these trips are around new products and stuff. What would be the idea, or what are the logistics around, maybe you get, like, the creators get the product first and the trip comes second, that's available to the public? And this is where I'm thinking. Um, Whenever you see the embargo videos for stuff, there's like like a month or so where you have to wait till people even get them shipped. So you never get to see them.
Mhm.
So there's like a weird buffering time where like S1R2 gets released, but like they ship in March, but the release was sometime in, I think it was March or February. I can't remember what month it was.
Announcement February, ship in March
So
for
like
that
there's
one.
a
Yeah.
weird buffer of time. And then obviously we
Yeah.
have it beforehand. What would be, instead of we go to Norway, you do, hey, we're gonna do a Lumix trip in New York. Take the camera a month before, but we're gonna do we're gonna do the trip in New York, but then we could have it kind of open to the public to check out while the shipping time is waiting. Like, is that something that has been, no one's done it. So I'm always curious about that.
Yeah, I honestly think that's one of those things that goes way up higher,
Mm,
like to like finance teams and all that kind of stuff, because there's also there's also like the whole coordination you have to do with your retail network, with making sure that inventory
mm,
arrives on time, that it can get where it's got to go. So a lot of times I think at least in the imaging space, it's not as streamlined as say like Apple, right? Where you can have an announcement the day of and products available and all that kind of stuff. And but in that world, they don't really have to worry about sending out a bunch of review units ahead of time for
Yeah,
people to take
true.
a look at. In fact, a lot of times when you go down that path, you actually kind of remove the review side of it because it's a much higher chance of, you know, stuff getting left on a table in a bar and then someone finding it and selling it online.
Fair
Um,
point.
so there's
Wait, has
always
that
those
happened?
different kind of I that was the one of the early iPhones.
Oh,
Someone
okay.
someone left it on a bar and then it ended up online, and that's how, like, I think it was like one of the newer iPhone designs. This was probably close to 10 years ago at this
Oh,
point.
okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, did something?
Uh
Did I miss something?
no, no,
That GH7 drop
no.
was a doozy. I'm just kidding. That was wild.
No, but yeah, there's always all that kind of stuff that has to go through of like how does it make the most sense? Honestly, is it even logistically possible? Um, because you also run into the fact of like the size of the teams that work on a lot of this stuff too. I think a lot of people think these companies are a lot bigger than we are
Mm,
staff wise. I
yeah,
mean, we're gigantic, multi-billion-dollar corporations, but every individual team or any individual, you know, brand within the company, they're not working with like 500
yeah.
employees on one thing
Like
kind of
you're not
thing.
seeing
I
the
mean,
manager of batteries anytime soon.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So usually logistics, timing when it comes to dealers, and just probably partially this is how it's been done, and
yeah,
until
fair.
someone decides to try to change
So flip
it.
it on its head, and then it'll take another brand or even Lumix doing it, and then everyone's like, "Oh, why didn't we think of that?" Okay, well now we'll do like, yeah, it makes sense. Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of which, and embargoes and stuff like that, if you had a weighted average of like how important is launch day and versus the following 3 months after a launch, because I think also like, and the whole point of this is trying to like break down some of these misconceptions that like launch day is everything, where I would say there's a lot more
Yeah.
value in like everything after the fact. How important, I mean, if I guess from your perspective, because you're in marketing,
Yeah.
right? Like how important is, like obviously there's
Yeah.
weight to it, but how important is it versus the other 90 days inside of a quarter?
Yeah. I mean, there is still immense value behind launch day, videos or content. And
Mm,
that includes everything from, shorts being posted on social to, mid-length videos, long-term videos. There are the people that will sit and watch, a 40-minute long, 50-minute long, 2-hour long video. They exist.
I have one.
And yeah, and truthfully, you guys are the ones that will know what ends up actually working or not.
Mm,
And that's where, at least from my perspective and our perspective, there are no, kind of rights or wrong with it. Um, I think you guys pointed it out great that like a lot of times the day one videos that ever come out on anything, they're always like more so an overview than an in-depth review, because usually, you know, to actually fully understand something, you need to spend a little bit of time with it.
mm,
So that takes time to curate. And if you're known for a certain style or a certain type of content, it's going to have to fit to your standards for what you
yeah.
want as a video. So some people will go out there and make sure that they call it a like an overview or a preview. Some people try to stay as far away from a quote unquote review as possible. I think generally in the world those terms are all kind of interchangeable for the most part.
They're gonna call
Um,
my Maui video. Someone called it a review, and I'm like, okay, all
yeah,
right,
yeah, it's like, I mean, to somebody it is.
yes, exactly.
And for us, launch day stuff is great because you get to really kind of take advantage of the YouTube algorithms that, play on the more people are talking about something, the more it gets suggested, the more, it rises through suggested videos and things like that. And
Yep.
that's a really big, important thing. But from our perspective, it's more, I just want to be able to point people to an independent source to be
Mm,
like, hey, you can trust me if you want. I am the brand on
yeah.
anything that I say online. So even on this, like I am representing the brand. Um, so I will have to figure out if I'm going to get yelled at for doing this later, but uh but it's always important that, launch day you see a bunch of videos typically. It helps people that are hungry to find the information up front, but personally I think the most important stuff that you see is what comes out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
Yeah.
2 months down the line, because everyone's opinions adjust over time. People get excited when something is new and they, get really all, hyped up about it, especially when you're creating videos and stuff like that. It's in human nature. You get excited about this stuff. Otherwise, why would we be doing most of
Yeah.
this for the most? But after a little bit of time sets in, and maybe you get more time using it on a job, using it on a project, you start to find little things that it would be like, okay, for creator type X, Y, and Z, this is probably something you need to know. And usually by that point, you're closer to when the products are shipping, that that person may find value in that and be like, oh, okay, well, knowing this maybe changes my perspective on whether or not I am ready to buy it, or this fully changes my perspective. I'm pulling the trigger to buy it right now.
Yeah.
Um, it's a ton of responsibility, I would say, for you guys.
Yeah.
That's
And I,
not that is partially an unfair due amount of responsibility because the internet makes it that way.
and I think that's one of the things that's kind of tough with this too, right? Like I mean, I haven't done YouTube for super long, so whenever I'm doing these videos, I nowadays I just default to like what's important to me, because I'm like I
Yeah.
can't like for the S9 I said it, and I'm like two things. Like one, if I'm using it for video, I've never looked in the viewfinder, so it's not important to me that it has one. Everyone lost their mind. But then also I'm like, yeah, also when I audit my own behavior, I've never put headphones on a small camera I'm vlogging on. Not once. I've never done it. So to like make it an issue now actually is less authentic than making a big deal out of it now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, there is definitely, I think, where the conversation hopefully does shift to is, instead of being like, oh, how dare you do an embargo video, we can't trust you, to, hey, can you do another video later on? Like, let me go back to your original launch day video and be like, hey, it's been like 2 months. You still feel that way? Like,
Yeah.
and people will watch it because like
Oh yeah.
most of my channel and my community are built on, I know that if like Kofi gets a new camera, I'll see 12 videos on it somewhere in the next 3 months.
Oh yeah.
I feel like your dog's doing something very strange in the background. Um,
He was trying to get Cheetos.
oh, I mean, I don't blame him.
I don't
But yeah,
either, but I don't want to have to clean that up later.
fair point. But yeah, like that's I basically what I wanted to do is I want to get like, it's one thing where I'd be like, hey, brand trips aren't these like weird secret meetings that like people like conspire to trick the masses. And actually they're just people going on these trips. It's a work trip. It's a work trip, and we just get to know stuff before the public does, anywhere between
Yeah.
3 and 8 weeks in advance. That's pretty much it. But it's
Yeah.
it's also valuable to hear that from the brand, because it's not like any other brand does that any differently. Like it's not like
No.
Canon's like, let me take these guys off to like Egypt and like make sure they don't say anything wrong about that C80. Like no one does that, right? Because for the same reasons as what you just said, because if you did do that, it would come up eventually, and then it would do way more harm than good. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone realizes across the board, and this is where I would say I'm gonna brush my own shoulder off on this one a little bit. That we I think have always been that kind of mentality that, you know the way we interact with people, the way I want to engage with like our industry, our fellow, filmmakers and photographers and videographers, whatever. It's a way that I would want to be treated in that mentality. So it really does just come down to like common sense type things. Like,
Yeah.
be good, be nice, have a good work ethic, be reliable is a
Yeah.
very important thing, you know, and that's what builds this kind of future for this, because otherwise it just becomes an echo chamber of my brand's best, no, my brand's best, and that no one wants that. Those
Yeah.
videos get so old so quick.
I stumbled upon a few the other day and I was like, this is exhausting to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes a ton of sense, man.
Yeah.
But dude, thank you. I'm gonna let you get back to your dog because your dog looks
Yeah.
like he wants food. Also is probably on the phone snitching just in case he said anything that would get you in trouble. I'm joking. I
Yeah.
hope. Well, I hope no one said anything that gets in trouble. But anyway,
Nah.
I
Nah.
when's the next live stream for you guys? Like Lumix's live stream. Are you guys doing one this week?
Yeah, we do them every Thursday at
Okay.
2 p.m. Now that I'm not like NAB, WPPI, and then a training event I had to do out in Vegas, like now I'm actually back and I do them every Thursday. So
Cine Gear and Build.
I will not be at Cinegear. I will be at Build.
Why won't you be at Cine Gear? What happened?
I honestly, for me, it's I need a break from travel.
Fair. Okay, that's fair. All
so
right. Yeah, that's fair. All
so
right.
I'm
I'll
like,
give you that.
And I don't know if we're like if Matt or anybody like the rest of the brand's gonna be at Cinegear. I think a lot of those conversations are still ongoing because I think
Fair.
some of the stuff also changed with Cinegear because there's a fee to get into it this year now too, and all
Oh,
kinds
is
of
there
stuff up. Yeah, I think it's like $25 to get in.
per
Um,
day?
ooh, I would have to double check. It's been probably about 2 weeks since I looked last at
I
what.
might not go to Cine Gear.
Um,
I'm not paying 100 Canadian dollars.
it might just be um like $25 to get in, like in
Gotcha.
general. But yeah, I think there was a little bit of change because I think it's back on Paramount slot this
Gotcha.
year.
Yeah. Last year was Warner Brothers.
Yeah, which it's a cool show. Anyone that's in the area, like, it's a cool show to go to.
Yeah.
So, but I'm
So
also
that
looking forward to Build. So,
and there's nothing else I don't think this year either. So I think it's just those are the last two. I think. I'm hoping. I'm traveled out.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I'm done. Oh, I hope I'm done. Actually, low key. I I could get a call from Armando in like 2 days, being like, "By the way, you're going to Istanbul. Maybe get myself a new hairline. Who knows?"
I mean, Istanbul would be kind of cool,
Yeah, that's fair.
you know.
It'd be kind of cool if it's in like November.
Yeah, fair.
If
Yeah,
it's
I
in
mean, come on, man.
July, like I'll go.
Yeah, we're young though. Come on.
Yeah, like if you send me an
Come
email saying that
on.
we're going to Istanbul, like I'll go. You know that. I'll go. I'll go. I'll stay later and I'll make like 15 Instagram reels, but like I'll go. But yeah, no,
Oh man,
that'll be tough.
that's nuts, dude. Uh,
Uh,
well, hey, man, thanks for the
oh
invite
no,
for me
thank
to
you.
jump on.
I think as soon as you replied, I got 5 text messages being like, "Bring Sean in," and I'm like, "Shit, if he wants to come, damn, okay." Matt Dangy also says hi. Dangy said that he can't
Yeah,
text in the
yeah,
chat, but he said hello.
his text came up. I just didn't read it out yet.
Oh, fair
Hi,
point.
Mal. Dang you.
Hey, also, before you go, I will point out 37 of those, no, 44 of those botted dislikes disappeared while you were talking.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
All right.
must have been the Sony reps. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Oh.
I'm still trying to get my condo invite, so we're just gonna delete that from the replay. All right, all right, boss man.
All right, man.
I'll see you later.
Later, dude.
Peace. There we go. Got it from the horse's mouth, or at least like one of the horse's mouth. I can't have every single brand on here at the same time. I might. Is Terry? Terry, have you made it back home from the grocery store? Because I could stay on stream if you are at home currently. If you are not home, actually, I can just text Terry. What am I doing? I'm just gonna text Terry. If Terry's ready to go on stream, I'll keep it going. If not, I'll get through some of the comments and then I might just dip out. I want to see. Ooh, I want to see Thunderbolts tonight. I want to see Thunderbolts tonight. I might see Thunderbolts tonight, bro. So if Terry, you got 5 minutes to tell me if you are back. Let me just go up in these comments too, just to see. I missed a ton. Okay. Shauna, thank you very much. That's there. While he's sub threshold. I asked some companies past it was sub threshold. Your insight gives me just keep doing from view. That's awesome. And that again, like if you've ever got whenever some of you in this chat may very well go to a Lumix trip and you'll realize that like subscriber count is not something that is a barring factor from going on some of these things. Bray Gray. Okay. I'm fairly small creator and I'm focusing on getting the best out of my gear. So hopefully that helps others too. I also enjoy making videos in it for the love of the game. Hey, exactly that mentality, stay there because there's a lot of longevity in it. Just a lot of us make videos for the love of the game. We just like making videos people want to see. So it naturally turns into gear videos. Are you getting the Pixis 12K? I absolutely am. Full disclosure, Black Magic's probably going to send me one. So that should be, honestly, I think probably around build. Hopefully, if they actually ship, it should be around build. So I should by August, I'll probably have the Pixis 6K, which I have now, Ursa 12K, and then the Pixis 12K as well, which is a really I personally wouldn't buy a cinema camera if I had those three again. So Sean is a legendary Pokemon. Sometimes he'll show up in your stream and you'll just leave a couple comments and dip out. Sometimes he stays long enough for 40 minutes and answers a bunch of questions. I'm making videos and I'm trying to create and share recipes for Nikon users. I don't really want to get locked into gear reviews, but I recognize if I could work videos. So Giovanni, I want you to think of it not like this way. I want you to think of it not as I don't want to lock into gear reviews. Just think about what's in the benefit to the audience that also is something that you want to talk about. You don't necessarily have to review gear all the time, but if it's something that you think is something valuable to an audience of people, mix that into what part of the value bringing to the audience do you want to take part in. Sean is one of the guards of the Lumix Golden Gates. He is like Gandalf. Yeah, that's 1000% right. I thought I had a witty rebuttal for that. No, that's 1000% right. In terms of anything in North America in your relationship with Lumix, that is probably the person that is the last person that decides if you shall pass or not. But thankfully, he gave you very particular criteria on how to do that. Brandon Drill ain't getting that trip. They could if they want to, but I feel like to be fair, the amount of like I don't like Lumix that Brandon Drill have been very open about, I guess what the word would be. Like, if I was having a pool party and you kept telling me that you can't swim, I probably wouldn't invite you to the pool party because you can't swim. That makes sense. So, I mean, if they don't get invited, it's one thing, but I don't think it's going to be because they talk trash about Lumix. I think maybe because maybe they don't want to go. If they invite Kofi because everyone wants to travel with me, I might not be the best person to travel with. We'll see. I mean, me and Jason were driving around Houston for a week, so he'll let us know. Terry hit the nail on the head. Shout out to Lumix for being the only company to have live streams for us, not on those trips. Y'all rule. Yeah, man. You know what I like? I like that Lumix is taking a lot of the playbook from Sony in terms of how they do their marketing with like they have their own trips and all the other stuff. It levels the playing field a little bit, but also like who's to say that like one company can't market a certain way? And I think they do it really well. The trips have been super fun. So I can obviously see how much work those trips y'all can be. You also have the skill to make it look easy. The trips are a lot. It's a lot, but like to be like again, like we were saying before, like there are worse jobs that you can be doing, and yeah, there's so much worse that you can be doing. Hey, Thomas, have fun. Enjoy your night. I mean, I know that Sean is explaining. Now that Sean is explaining the criteria for inviting YouTubers, I understand why some YouTubers were invited and others weren't invited. There's nothing negative towards those that are not invited. Yes, Angelo, that is 1000% right. I wish I could like pin this, but I can't. Brandon Jarrell, a great guy. See, just because you talk crazy about a brand doesn't mean they won't invite you or think you're a good person. Because I would love to see Brandon Jarrell trying to figure out how to use an S9. So Sean, if you could hook it up. Yeah, so do I. Man, I talk to Brandon fairly often. Jump on the next one, kids stuff going on. Hey, you be a dad, bro. I don't have kids, so I do have a girlfriend that probably wants me to get off stream in the next like 10 minutes though. So there's a bunch of you guys that really. So apparently there's a lot of small Lumix cameras that I didn't know about. We needed this live months ago. Love this. Hey, Sean, that means that we should probably do another live stream at some point because I think this is actually really cool when you get to actually have brands and people that represent brands that are in this live stream. Because then you actually like, I could say whatever I want about press trips and embargoes or whatever the case might be, but like when it comes directly from the source, there's far more value to it. Hey, there you go. See, this is also a cool part of the stream is that people get to connect. Now, Introvert Amateur is going to have Sean look at his S9 video, which is probably going to be better than my S9 video. I'm going to make sure I'm going to try to get to the live stream on Thursday. I think I shoot on Thursday, but I will try my best to get on there. Okay, what else? Hey, sometimes the best advocates are people you convert over. Actually, Greg, there's actually a ceremony where we sacrifice a Fuji shooter in order to convert people to Lumix. That's just, it kind of just happens that way. It's a little bit under a basement. It's under the basement of the Lumix building out in Japan. But yeah, basically we've taken a bunch of Fuji shooters, kidnapped them, and then we sacrifice them in a basement. Why don't you put that on your rumor site? I'm joking. Hey, have you ever thought of having a Kofi Clips channel? Mighty Miggy, I think the day that like these live streams are more frequent, more consistent, I would 1000% consider doing that. They're just not consistent because I decided to do the stream 2.5 hours ago, and we are 2.5 hours in. So yeah. Oh, question. Do you play piano? I remember seeing a piano somewhere. Actually, no, I don't. My girlfriend plays piano, and we have split this office kind of in half. So her desk is behind me, and her piano is like right under the desk. I am not musically inclined whatsoever. What's a Pantex convert then? Honestly, we haven't necessarily recognized them as people yet, so I don't know. Also, I'm kidding. Who would ever say something like that? 2 hours, 30 minutes, I can make clips for a month with that. I think, honestly, if a lot of these live streams are me like talking back and forth to the audience, and it kind of feels like you're doing crowd work with a camera and no one else that can see you or hear you. If I had more structure to these live streams, I 1000% might have a clips channel, but I haven't yet, and I haven't decided how I want to do a clips channel. Because if I'm gonna do something like that, like I want it to be something that's like I could actually pull out individual value. But hard part with that is that I'm just talking trash to my friends for 2 hours every couple days. Kobe, would you consider shooting Fuji for cinema in the future? I mean, I want to try that Eterna. That Eterna looks kind of cool. I'll be honest with you, after there's a 79% chance I'm going to get an Ursa 12K. I wouldn't buy a Fuji camera for cinema purposes or for production. I will rent one, or if Fuji like drops one up my front steps, I will definitely. But yeah, I definitely in that spec of cinema camera, I don't think I'd buy another one after the Ursa because I don't know like where do you go from super high dynamic range built-in ND filters with all the other stuff and Blackmagic Raw and all the other things. Where do you go from there? And I don't really know. So yeah, I would definitely use one. Would I buy one? Probably not. And if I do buy one, despite having an Ursa 12K, understand I was paid. Could you get your girlfriend to play in the background in the next stream? Let me ask. Now, she has her hair dryer on, so she can't hear me. She has her hair dryer on. She won't be able to hear me at all. But maybe I'll ask her. She'll probably say no, but I'll ask. I'm 100% down to have that because I think this is let me get better at live streaming before I start clipping things up. Because also some of these clips, no, hang on a second. Some of these clips people be putting on Reddit saying that we out here talking about specs of cameras that don't exist. So let me structure this live stream a little bit better before I end up on some rumor site for something I never said. So let me just organize myself. Organize. Every other day I organize. No Ursa 17K. Here's my thing. Yes, that would be like a natural thing. I don't have the work for an Ursa 17K. I would love one. This is the same thing when like I had the Venice and I was borrowing it from Sony for a while. I'm not up there yet. I know I'm not. I'm not up there in production yet where I can go and buy myself an Ursa 17K and sit there comfortably and say, yep, I use this thing. It would mostly be like a clout chase unless I had work that required it. Even the Ursa 12K, like I don't have work that requires that. I just want one because it's affordable relatively. But the 17K would love it, but I wouldn't know what I'd use it for. I don't have a computer to edit the 17K files. At least I don't think. Speaking of Fuji, does your GFX 50R right now? Or sorry, do you shoot with the GFX 50R or did the Nikon ZF take photo spot for now? Nope, still shoot the GFX 50R. I keep the ZF. Honestly, I kind of just decide on which one I use that day, but I still use my 50R a lot more. But I did decide that I'm gonna like leave it at home and then just I wanted to give the ZF like, don't carry another photo camera, just use the ZF. And that was a lot of fun where if like knock on wood, if my GFX ever went down, I would just go to the Nikon ZF. But realistically, outside of like the GFX isn't the fastest camera in the world. So if I'm like walking around like everyday stuff, I don't need a fast camera. But if it's something where like I might shoot bursts or like maybe we're gonna go shoot cars or something like that, I could see that working. Or one of the things I wanted to consider as well is the ZF because the higher aperture lenses are cheaper. So if you want to get like a 55 millimeter f1.7 GFX GF mounted lens, it's so much money. It's so much money where I'm like, I could just grab that 40 millimeter and it costs a lot less and get a higher aperture. So even when you do the math versus my 50 f3.5, the f2 on the Nikon is still a better choice. So I'll use it for that. Get better priority there. I do okay. I think I do okay. I think one of the things I would love to do clips for is if we have streams with like me, Cam, and Terry are there, that would be fun. But it's just me talking. I wouldn't watch myself just talking on live stream without answering very specific questions. But when we do have that, there's a program that I have that can make clips. Okay, so that being said, there's fire trucks and police cars outside. They're incredibly loud. I've been on for 2.5 hours, and guess what? I want a treat. Actually, I probably shouldn't be eating treats, but I'm going to eat food regardless. That being said, okay, this is the last question I'm going to answer. Regarding the GFX 50R, you can play around with the GF to M adapter and ask Cam for some Leica lens to play around. So, fun fact, I live on the opposite side of North America from Cam, but I understand the vision. I do have an ability to get some M mount lenses and get some Leica lenses. I haven't done it yet. I just haven't gone around to it, and I probably will during the summer because now it's a lot warmer. Fuji. That's my decision from going full frame instead of GFX when I switched from Fuji X mount. Yeah, man. Full frame lens is a little bit cheaper. I find if you're gonna go with the GFX stuff, one thing I would consider is get like a couple lenses and then just like not think about GF lenses because they're gonna be so much money. The wee woos are out and about. Yeah, welcome to Toronto, bro. Hey, lastly, we got a super chat from Greg. Thank you so much. In this kind of junction in time, money's kind of hard to come by. So I appreciate it when anyone sends a super chat. Yeah, get your GF and go watch Thunderbolts. She hates Marvel movies, but I'm probably going to make her watch Thunderbolts. And with that, awesome live stream, Kofi. Thanks again for the invite. Sean, anytime. I think in the coming weeks and months, we will have more of these. But that all to be said, a special shout out to you guys for actually staying in the stream. Fun fact, the vast majority of those fake bots that came in to dislike this live stream, they're gone now. Well, at least 11 of them are left. Hopefully you guys catch us on the replay. A little bit of a disorganized stream. It was super impromptu. But I'll see you guys in the next one. We're probably going to do another one on Tuesday. Today's Sunday. Yeah, probably on Tuesday.